Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome back to Weeb Seen It podcast. This week is episode number 38. As always, I'm Cam.
And I'm Jimmy.
And let's just get into the episode, guys. And welcome back to another episode of Weeb Seen It, guys. Thanks for joining us, as always. Thanks for coming, Jimmy.
Always happy to be here.
So obviously, we know we have, seven shows to talk about this week? Is that the normal number?
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, 7 shows to talk about this week, which we'll be talking about. Obviously, for watching this, the upload this week was a little bit later than normal. That's just due to work. With the pandemic lightening up a little bit, I'm back at work now. Yeah. Jimmy's working full time, so we just had to fit it in where we could this week. Next week, it should be relatively close. I think it was just a hard first week to try and watch all this anime to talk about it more than actually just getting into the room to talk about it. As always, too, this week, thanks to everybody who commented and watched the last video. If you commented and replied to the one video, I'm going to read out your comment. What was the question of the week last week? That's a good question. I kind of already forget.
I'm already drawing a blank. I'm just thinking of this week's question.
It's because I haven't been writing them in. I haven't been talking about them in the video when we're recording it because I do not remember what I'm going to make it. Okay, let's see. So basically the question was, what is an anime that you've dropped this season, either from lack of quality, interest, or even just from a lack of time? Because they're all great shows, obviously. Before we read the comments, shows we've dropped this season so far. And a lot of these I don't consider dropped. I'd say one of the only shows I would have dropped from episode 1 would be but Combatants Will Not Be Dispatched.
Yeah, that was one for me.
Because I actively don't think I'm going to pick that one back up. Many of the other ones that I've dropped so far are shows that I will try to come back to maybe when the season's over.
Yeah, it's really more about time constraints and...
Yeah. Oh, we're starting with a busy one here. This one's kind of crazy.
Wow.
This person says, I dropped Vify and Tokyo Revengers. A bit busy for the day to watch 5 shows. I dropped Demon Lord Season 2 also. Since the quality drop, it looks different from Season 1. Don't know if it's a different studio or something. And that's by Shrimps. I can't believe you dropped Vify and Tokyo Revengers. Those are probably some of the two highlights.
I understand what you're saying, but they're kind of heavy.
They're very heavy, but
So I think they'd be a good show that one day to just binge.
Especially since Vivy seems like it might be a 1-season show.
Yeah.
It might be a good binger.
I think we're coming close to the resolution at this point.
As for the Demon Lord, listen, I'm still watching How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Season 2. The quality to me seems the exact same. It is not any better. It doesn't seem any worse.
I don't think it was pretty good to start with. So.
I guess it just depends on your preference. Next one here, we have Vertic, who says Combatants. This was very lackluster to me. Watched 2 episodes. Well, you know what, Vertic? You watched 1 more episode than I did.
Yeah. You know what's funny thing about Combatants I found out?
What?
Apparently Combatants was written before Konosuba.
Yeah, that's what I heard about that too. It was his previous work, and then he went back after. So he hadn't found his comedic style or anything yet. But
I guess not.
I think to me that, if anything, just shows the fact that Konosuba was enough. He worked on Combatants, and he's like, you know what? How about this Konosuba? That became a hit. Just leave all your old work after that. You clearly made your strides right there. And I think other than that, he also said Slime 300. Only watched 1 episode, but I didn't see any reason to keep watching. Obviously, it's a very relaxing show. I haven't watched it since episode 2, I think.
Same.
I might watch it. As I said, that's a really good show just to watch if you just want to really watch nothing.
That's true.
Just turn your brain off and watch it. But since we have so many shows we have to watch, I can't always fit that in. So those are very fair answers.
Yeah, I heard Slime's actually really good if you want character development for other people.
Yeah. Well, no, it's Slime 300.
I know. Wait, killing slimes for... Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, different slime anime. Different slime slice of life. Come on, Jimmy. Keep up. The next person, what's this? Super Calcio 97 said The Way of the House Husband. It was funny, but I can't stand the 2 FPS.
I know. This is an anime made in PowerPoint. It's hilarious.
It's the Netflix one. So I think it's on purpose. I think it's a style choice, but it's basically just slightly animated PowerPoint or just manga in a sense, just with voice acting. Some people like it, some people hate it. I could definitely see why you dropped that though. If that's not something you're interested in, you might as well just go there and watch Queen Bee. Next up is M. Big fan of M. He's been here for a long time. He said might drop Eden Zero. Well, M, you're already ahead of us since we cannot watch Eden Zero. You got any hints how to watch it? You leave that down below. The first episode, the setup was interesting, but I can't really stomach the fan service. Just kind of cheapens the experience for me. That's pretty fair. I can already see how that kind of goes based off Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
And then they said also tried to get into SSS Gridman in order to watch the new season, but man, SSS Gridman is extremely formulaic to the point of being boring and predictable.
Yeah, if you can't get by with just kaiju smashing stuff, I completely understand.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely pretty formulaic. It's new kaiju comes in, they fight, they win. Next episode.
I mean, my childhood is Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's literally like watching Power Rangers again. This person said I dropped Joran. I think I remember that. That was like an old like a feudal Japan style show, I think. They said the art was great, but the story just didn't hit the right beats. I also dropped Nagatoro. I didn't find it particularly funny, and I've been short on time this season since I've been trying to catch up on stuff from last season.
That's fair. Nagatoro is a very specific niche.
Yeah, I still want to catch up on Nagatoro, but as I said, it's got to go on the back burner for, I think,
it looks
bigger
like
shows.
Stockholm Syndrome, the anime.
Hey, listen. To me, that seems like I would really love Nagatoro if it probably came in like a winter season, especially.
Maybe.
But you know, with all the other shows right now, like with some of these huge shows, I haven't been able to keep up on it. One day I'll watch it all, and then we'll maybe come with a video about like how we thought of it in general. And that was by X Cassius Fortis. The next person is Robo Jojo, and they said, out of the anime I've been watching this season, Vivy is the only one that I started and fell out of. It would take me a few days to actually watch the new episode, if at all, until I just stopped watching. Great looking scenes here and there, though. To my surprise, I'm really enjoying SSS Dynazenon. I thought that would be the early drop and a good watch. Look at that. It's like opposite of the last guy.
I mean, yeah, again, if you can get into that formula, it's a good formula. It's a reason it works.
I mean, like, obviously everyone's got opinions, but I have such a hard time. Like I don't, Vivy's not the first thing I want to watch every single week, but when I'm watching Vivy, I'm like, oh, damn. Like, you know, good thing I watched this.
I mean, I have to get into the right mindset for Vivy, so I can understand dropping it if you don't have the time to kind of put yourself in that place.
No calling out here, but we got some comments too, and I kind of want to read them as well. Because Sarthak Saxena just commented at Robo Jojo, said weirdest taste by far from all of these comments in my opinion, and I think that's kind of funny because, you know. Yeah. I don't think Dynazenon or Gridman are really known for their great storytelling or anything crazy. No. You know, I really like the character designs.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the classic
Trigger.
Yeah, it's the classic Studio Trigger character designs, which is nice. But that guy, I do kind of see where he's coming from. Be like, don't like Vivy, but everyone's got their opinions. It's all been fun. The next person is, it's actually the same person's last comment. So Sarthax, and he commented the X Cassius Fortis and said, I agree. I started watching because of the art and the story was super weak, and that's for the Joran show. I think the art style looks very like feudal Japan.
Yeah, if it's what I'm thinking of,
I think I'm thinking of the right thing. And then the very last guy is Mad Danny. He says, I like Higehiro and Nagatoro, but I'm not that all used to watching from rom-coms, so I'm kind of procrastinating on them. And I think that rom-coms and like slice of lives are the easiest anime to procrastinate on.
Oh yeah, because you think like nothing major happened this week. I can watch it later.
Like if you miss stuff, like let's say like we'll just point out the classic, like, you know, a Demon Slayer episode, Jujutsu Kaisen episode, a My Hero episode, and something big happens. That whole week, then you're just gonna get thumbnails of that from every YouTuber, spoiling whatever cool thing happened. And you don't want to be the guy who missed that, like when it's brand new. Yeah. But you're rarely ever gonna miss some sort of big thing in the slice of life or a rom-com. Yeah. So it's by far the easiest one to procrastinate on, and it's also sometimes it's really really nice to just binge one of those shows.
It is.
I got really into binging older like isekai, like just like relaxing isekai, like Bofuri and like the Infinite Dendrogram and stuff like that, like the low stakes kind of ones, like video game ones, and it was just an enjoyable time. Very relaxing point of my life.
Yeah, you just kind of switch off a little bit, watch it, and just have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So that was all the comments. So as always, guys, this is kind of the new thing we're doing. It's just to, you know, promote people commenting and discussions and that kind of stuff. So whatever the weekly question is, it'll be pinned down below. Go answer it, and then we'll read it out next week. As always, I appreciate even the people there who added other people. It was, you know, for the most part, kind, even if you're disagreeing. You know, don't be harassing anybody for their taste. Some people out here could be like, you know, I'm only watching How Not to Summon a Demon Lord this season. Vivy and Tokyo Revengers, they all suck. Like, terrible shows. To Your Eternity, garbage. So, like, you know, and we just got to let that person have their opinion. It's all fun and games, you know? So, you know, just look down below, give us a comment, and that's always helpful. And as always, if you're just watching this in general, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I know that switching to the online, I think we were at the highest we'd ever been for, like, views and stuff, around, like, 2K a video right before we went to the online format. Yeah. And then from where we've taken a dip down, we've kind of stayed around the same. So as always, if you just want to see more episodes of these in the future, and if, you know, we want to make it more of a priority to get to things faster, that kind of stuff. So any sort of support helps, and, you know, shows us that there's a reason we want to do that. So if you got any friends to recommend it to, anything like that, you know, recommend it. We appreciate it. We'll be here either way. But if we can be here either way, but with more people watching, then we're going to take that option.
Yeah.
I think other than that, you got anything to say before we actually get into the real episode?
I think you touched base on everything.
Okay, well, before we get into the real episode, as always, guys, we are going to be drinking our non-sponsored drinks. I am not drinking energy drink today because I will not be able to sleep tonight. So I'm drinking a diet Street. No sponsor.
If we got a sponsorship from Sprite before rain, I'd be shocked.
I would be shocked as well. That'd be kind of dope, though. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, I love the energy drinks. I just already had one today. If I drink another, I will not sleep. And I need to sleep, so this weekend I have all the energy to watch all the frickin' anime that comes out on Friday and Saturdays.
Then you just drink another energy drink.
Yeah, no, I'll get addicted. So first up on today's list, as every single week has been since we started this season, it is, of course, Kumo Desu, episode number 20.
This isn't my fault, is it?
So, you know, if you were watching last week and you're like, oh, that sounds... someone must have commented about this.
I feel like someone didn't. I just didn't have time to respond.
So it seems like last week we gave the same title, which means that there might have been a mix-up on Crunchyroll with the titling, or else we shouldn't have even known the title unless you watch like the next time, and I don't even think there was one, so...
As far as I know, no, yeah.
So that's the title this week, and it makes more sense this week. I guess we didn't really look too deep into it last week anyways. One other thing about Kumo Desu, so last week was the first week where I tried using some sort of notes. Not really about any of our opinions on stuff, just kind of notes to keep general track of where the storyline takes us. If you like that, let us know down below. I thought it worked out well, but if you thought maybe some of the comment was like was missing some flow or something, just let us know because I'm curious. I did it again this week, but if people don't like it and people want us just going back to kind of like bumbling and being like, where did Kumiko go again? Like
what order was this in? When did she get slapped?
Even when we asked before about taking notes, it was very divisive when it came to people's opinions. So I thought this was kind of the best of both worlds. It's really just notes, keeping track of where we are in the story, and then we still kind of throw in all our own opinions and stuff. I didn't pre-plan anything like that. So let us know down below if you like that, just so we can keep it up for the future. But this episode, we start with Kumiko chilling with villagers until the fortress guys come, and then they piss her the fuck off.
Yep, she just grabs her fruit and just buggers right out.
Yeah, because we already knew from last episode. I believe they mentioned it last episode that they're going to be sending people from. I believe it's called Oats, like OHTS, Oats Fortress.
Yeah, Oats Fortress was the...
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So last episode, we saw from the, Sophia. We all saw from Sophia's dad perspective that they mentioned they were going to come here, and he was getting pissed. His life's getting harder, and he's like, well, they're coming here. Like, what do they think I'm going to do? Like, I don't have control over this spider. Like, it's not up to me. And then this episode, we get to see the fruition of that. So we see them come. He I don't know what he was expecting to happen.
I think he thought it was intelligent enough that it was just gonna bow down to him and follow him.
He's like, yes, handcuff me, sir, and take me in. Like, no. So Kumiko just gets annoyed and just pieces.
Yeah.
This guy's getting pissed, right? Mustache guy, you can tell he's clearly a bad guy. He's just getting angry. And then next we see, I wrote here, we see Dracula Dad. I don't know why. Dracula Daddy, Sophia's daddy, complaining about the attention Kumiko has brought, and the bad guy planning to kill Kumiko. So as we kind of saw last episode anyways, he is having a stressful time, both just with the Oats thing, also just with the treatment of the villagers towards Kumiko, Yeah. He's not so sure about the whole divine beast thing. He's not so sure that this monster is necessarily just here to help. He doesn't really get it, so he's not trusting it, and it's made his daily life much harder.
Yeah, because he also has a bunch of emissaries and diplomats showing up to try and investigate and pay.
Yeah, they specifically mentioned all these different emissaries have made requests to come and see it and that kind of stuff, and it's a lot of paperwork. If anything, he's got to do a lot of extra work. Not a big fan. And then he kind of mentions there once again. He mentions at that point with his worker guy suspicion about the emissary that Oats have sent because he kind of sucks. He's kind of stupid.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a proper emissary.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's not acting when emissary should be acting. So they're like, that's kind of why would they send this guy? Now, one thing someone mentioned in the comments last week, which is not a spoiler because technically we should have already seen it, and we do see it again in this episode later, is the fact that the butler guy is part of the Demon Lord's army in the future.
He is, yes. He's kind of a subordinate to Sophia.
Yeah, they had showed that in the future anyways, which makes sense, right? Because Sophia will grow up and he'll be like, hey, whether or not you're part of the Demon Lord, my job's to serve you.
Yeah,
is my guess, but
that's a level of loyalty you don't really expect from most people.
Yeah, but even then, something else could happen. Like maybe she could make him a vampire in the future.
I'm willing to bet he's been converted
because he doesn't look 15 years older. But at the same time, it's anime.
Yeah.
So until they're 80, and then all of a sudden they start showing stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like they might still be trying to keep the 15-year time gap relatively obscure. So.
Yeah, maybe. I think other than that, then we also see the bad guy again, the emissary from Oats, just saying he's going to basically kill Kumiko. Good luck, man. You were literally there trying to take this in because it destroyed an entire fortress.
Maybe he brought really good soldiers.
I think we know that's not true.
Yeah.
But either way, he's like, hey, I'm going to kill that frickin' spider. How dare it disrespect me?
Yeah.
He's just kind of a bumbling oaf, which, as we learn later in the episode, is pretty much on purpose. I don't think we know. Oats is part of the Empire. I'm pretty sure. And I think the Empire is the place with Hugo. if I'm not mistaken. Someone can correct us if that's wrong.
I think they were a separate entity up until this point, and they formed an alliance or got absorbed by the Empire.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, we see later in the episode more stuff with the Empire and kind of this alliance thing building up. But at this point, I wasn't sure if Oats was. I know they wear very similar colors, like they have very much like the red, like for all the armored soldiers and stuff. So I thought maybe, but the next part obviously. So we're still at Kumiko's side. We haven't seen anything from Shun yet. And then I wrote here that Gilly shows up, asks Kumiko to stop attacking Ariel and go someplace else to stop affecting the world.
Yeah, I think he specifically said to stop interacting with humans and just kind of disappear.
Yeah, he said stop interacting with humans. He's like, hey, can you also like stop messing with Ariel? And she's like, have I attacked Ariel? Because I think he specifically mentions like, can you stop your attack on Ariel? Yeah. And she's like thinking, I haven't attacked Ariel. And then eventually she's like, oh wait a minute, body brain, like, of course.
I think she never thought that was possible.
I mean, I didn't think that was possible. I thought the Demon Lord would be so strong at this point that wouldn't be a thing. Because think about how long it took 4 or like 3 of the brains to take out like the mother. I guess it probably didn't actually take that long. Like a few days, maybe a week.
Yeah, I think it was like a week or so. But even then, the fact of the matter is that Ariel couldn't stop the attack on Mother. Mm-hmm. So that means she can't stop the attack on herself.
Yeah.
Even if it takes like 5-6 years, it's still going to affect her.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess Kumiko just kind of, since she lost connection, maybe she just thought he was fucked, he's dead or something. Probably, the body brain's all screwed or something like that. I don't know. But either way, Gilly shows up and is like, hey, can you stop doing that, please? And Kumiko's like, listen, she's like, not against it. She's like, I would, but I can't. She's like, I've lost connection. He's like, okay. He's like, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's literally like, I am sorry for asking you to do something you can't do. And she's like, oh, it's cool. But at least there too, Kumiko kind of understands more why. She's like, oh, I just thought she was mad at me because I killed her ancestor, because I killed my mother, kind of thing. She didn't figure that she's also mad because of she's attacking her this whole time. So that gave her a little bit more information, and maybe now when she does run into Ariel, she'll be like, listen, I don't mean to attack you.
Just open up a connection. I'll take my body brain back and whatever stats he's absorbed, and I'll go on my way.
Yeah, I'll take those stats. They're mine now. And I'll just we'll just be friends now. Yeah. So obviously we're still waiting for this Kumiko Ariel mix up, which we have to be getting soon.
There's going to be a dust up before the end of the season. There's no way.
Because I think the rest of what Gilly says basically, he's like, stop interacting with humans. He's like, you're affecting things like too much. You're changing the shape of the world, kind of thing. And he specifically mentions something about being like a reincarnation. I think he like mentions her being a reincarnation and affecting this world too much specifically. And then Kumiko's like, listen, dude. She's like, no, and here's why. Because we already know from early on she has her plan. I think it was after getting Taboo to level 10.
Yes.
After getting Taboo to level 10, she saw like all these visions of the future. All this stuff was going on, and she's like, I need to save this world, and that's kind of why she's getting powerful. At that point she's like, oh, I need to get powerful to achieve my goal. So she's like, listen, dude, I can't stop affecting or talking to humans or interacting or affecting things because I actually need to deliberately affect this world.
Yeah.
So that conversation doesn't go too well. He's like, okay, thanks for your time.
Yeah, he seemed really chill for being an administrator. He was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, too, later we've seen this character in the future with Ariel, with the Shiro or the girl in white. He's just chilling, part of like the army kind of situation. But we've seen him before. He came to Kumiko. They talked through he dropped off the cell phone the one time. This was the first time they really had an interaction. Kumiko was using telepathy.
I think so, because I can't imagine she has vocal cords.
Yeah, it looked very much telepathy like.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I mean, I could think a lot of times, a lot of things in the episode we discussed this before. A lot of things were questioned in the episode before it's mentioned next time. Just like how last week we were talking about how is she able to understand these humans, and then the very start of this episode she's like, oh, look, I've been listening to these humans so much, I'm really starting to pick up the language. And it's just it's like every single episode we have a question, next week it's answered. So I'm sure next week maybe she'll dive more into the telepathy because she might need to start contacting humans with this whole army situation. So that could very much be a point next week. I was about to say the next part here, Kumiko gets attacked and kills the guy.
Yeah.
So she gets attacked in the woods.
It wasn't even a fight.
She gets they surprise attack her, pull her out of her nest kind of thing, and then she just kills them. And then she's and then she does her same thing she did before to the elves and kills all the people inside the mansion too. And because she uses the magnification thing mixed with one of her evil eyes, and
I think she only killed the one guy in the mansion. She just killed the emissary,
and then she killed all the people beside her. Yeah, and she was like, "Ooh, human EXP, my favorite type." So she kills him, and then the next scene I think is Sophia's dad finding him. I don't know if I wrote that on here. I did, but it's like Sophia's dad finding him. It looks like it's been a few days, and he's like, "Oh, this is such a fucking mess." And then that's where they start discussing like, why would they send this guy? He's obviously a fool. And they're like, "Do you think it's?" He's like, "No, it can't be possible that they want a war, right?"
Yeah,
and
we're
they're like,
so much bigger.
Yeah, they're like, "Why would they want a war? We're so much bigger. We have so many more people." And then of course the next thing, war breaks out, and Kumiko decides to help.
Yeah, because it was specifically an alliance between the country or Oats, the Empire, and the Church. I think it was.
Probably there might have been other smaller like countries or factions too, but
okay.
Either way, a very big army. They're there for a specific reason. What do you think the reason is?
It could be the religious difference because they worship the.
Could be the religious, right? And they're just using this whole thing. It could be specifically for like Kumiko. It could. I mean, I don't know if they'd really want to for anything specifically with the Divine Beast. Maybe they think that's something to do with it. It's too early right now. It can't be reincarnation related. I don't think.
Yeah, because most people are just finding out about reincarnation.
Yeah, like these. For the most part, like Potimas and them, they've just learned about it kind of recently, and then they're just at this point in the process of like stealing babies, taking babies, buying babies, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's reincarnation. I feel like it's too simple to say it's just religion based, though. I mean, like that's the cause of a lot of wars. But I think that there's got to be something secret hidden behind it. Maybe the area. Like we obviously know the area is very close to the elf village too.
Sure.
It's very possible they just want a better position for if they need to do some sort of war against the elf village.
It's possible.
Like I think we're gonna find out more in like the next episode of the one before. But I feel like just having like the two different religions probably not enough to do this big whole like plan about sending an emissary, starting a war, gathering up all these allies. I think there's something else behind it too.
Yeah, I mean, this
probably
could
that
even be...
Dustin guy or whatever his name was. Was it Dustin? I think it was Dustin.
It could be. It could just be the church has orchestrated this to try and strike down an enemy, and
then I try to just move into a better position for a different war, because obviously we know that Dustin and Potimas and Ariel have like this little like triangle thing going on. So
that is true.
They could just be getting closer to striking an enemy, or it could just be, hey, like we believe in the same God, but I believe in them differently, so I'm going to stab you now. Yeah,
because he specifically mentioned it's the same God, they just think different.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, they just have different ways of like worshiping her, and like they think different things, but same shit really. Yeah. After that, so we see the war marching. We see Kumiko kind of be like, hey, this is my fault, isn't it? That's the name of the title. And I think we see her basically be like, well, you know what? I'm going to help him. So
partly because it's my fault, partly because I want all that experience.
So do you think Kumiko's just hopping in right now and destroying like most of the army? Like just her by herself real quick?
I mean, I feel like she could very easily do that.
I think that that's the only way that'll happen. I think that once again, like it's trying to set up like there's two different wars about to go on at the same time in the next episode. But I think the Kumiko one is just going to be her pop down, destroy them.
Yeah, I'm getting Overlord vibes here, where she's going to do one thing, most of the army's going to be gone, and then...
Yeah, because I think the episode really has to focus more on the current war, because there's a lot more stakes to that, I think, than this one. Unless we learn more information about the hidden stakes we're just talking about. Sure. But after the Kumiko side, we're spending the rest of the episode... I want to say from like Shun's perspective, but realistically...
It's from the teacher.
We're looking at it from Oka Sensei's perspective. So I said here, for the most part, Oka Sensei telling us about her reincarnation, student roster power, and the future of her class, as well as getting Potimas to help her.
Yeah.
So she's reincarnated like all the reincarnations we've seen. She has full mental capabilities right from being born. She does come with a bonus power, though.
Yeah, which I think everyone got one bonus power.
Everyone got something.
Yeah.
As well as like their N1, any percent, whatever it is, skill. But hers, being the teacher, hers was class roster. So she even said in this, like she said, even when reincarnating, like the main thing she took with her was like her want for like the safety of students, which is probably what gave her the student roster ability. So it shows the entire class. It shows, what they've reincarnated as, like where they are, and like when they'll die or something.
Yeah. So
it shows a bunch, and even when she's mentioning this, we see like it's saying, like Shun dies 20 years from now. It's like this person dies. Like it actually has like all the, I think it like pretty much all the main characters. I don't know. I don't think we saw like Wakaba or anything like that.
We didn't see Wakaba. We saw a couple randoms, I think, that just said like died in the battle of the Elf Village.
Yeah, like pretty much most of the ones we see are like died in the battle of the Elf Village.
Yeah.
And obviously with the end of the episode, we know the battle in the Elf Village is basically now. So it showed us a lot. I mean, and then once again, that shows her reason for like, she uses like telepathy basically.
Yeah, she burned a bunch of skill points on getting telepathy. So
she uses telepathy to communicate with Potimas, like her father, and is like, hey, and this is how he learned about the reincarnation. She's like, listen to this. I'm a reincarnation. Here's all these other reincarnations. And she's like, help me. she's like, I didn't know if it was the right thing to do. She's like, but it was the only thing I could do. And he's like, I'll help you.
Yeah.
So we don't really know all of his reasoning behind it. Maybe he's just like a good guy.
I mean, I'm sure you thought, like, if my baby can talk to me telepathically at this point, these other kids must be pretty amazing.
Yeah, they could just be, realistically getting these reincarnations ready to be used.
Yeah.
As we've seen from there, they kind of did anything they have to do to get the reincarnations. So, buying them off parents, kidnapping them, anything that had to be done. So, that's why we see that in the last episode, they don't like the teacher very much because she's kind of the cause of this.
Yeah.
But she is doing it in her mind, at least for their own good. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like if I saw a bunch of them were going to die in a battle in the Elf Village, I'd I feel like I failed.
I feel like she's got to be getting pretty worried right now, though.
Yeah.
With the battle in the Elf Village coming up and a lot of students nearby. I'm trying to think if there was anything other than just the post credit scene. Oh, you know what? There was one thing of. There was a scene that I didn't write down here where Kumiko decided to look into what Ariel was doing.
Yeah, and she was fighting a dragon.
And she was fighting. Was it the same dragons before? Or is she just fighting all the dragons now?
I don't know.
Okay, if you know this and it's not a spoiler, answer down below. Because she was fighting a dragon. Kumiko's like, "Ooh, look, she's fighting a dragon. Look how good she is." And I wasn't sure if it was the same dragon from the last episode.
He just looked similar.
Yeah, he just got up and he's like, "Oh, you want to fucking fight Ariel?" Or if it's she is just now taking out all the dragons because they're like, "Hey, stop that, retire, lady." It's like I'm not 100% sure about that. All I have here written down for post credit scene, I'm very vague about this. I said post credit scene, Ariel getting her plans ready. So what that means, it basically you see Ariel mentioning how these people are all in position. We're seeing quick little cuts of Hugo there, Sophia there, guy I don't know with a hood on there, the butler here, and then you see Ariel smiling, she's ready to start this war, ready to do this. So I mean, I think that's what I meant when I said Ariel getting her plans ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's really vague.
Yeah, I was keeping it really vague for some reason. That was right at the end of the episode. I was sleepy. I'm like, I still got 2 more anime episodes to watch tonight. So I'm like, yeah, Ariel plans, do it. But yeah, that's pretty much where the episode ends.
Yeah.
Next week, big episode, I can only assume.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big action-packed episode unless they red herring us and use a flashback next week.
I mean, they could. I think they're red herring us on the battle with Kumiko. I think she's just gonna hop out and do some black magic.
I mean, it's possible that there's gonna be somebody who can hold their own for a little while.
I guess, but who at this point? Unless Ariel shows up for this one as well.
I mean, yeah, maybe she'll show up to try and stop her interfering, or think maybe she can get the drop on her.
Maybe. I'm sure some of the higher up from the churches have to be strong, to compete with other people like elves and the hero and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In their own sense, but even then, I don't think Kumiko's strong. I don't think any human that could be here could be strong enough to beat Kumiko. I think a lot of it is just how they've done a lot of times in the past. They make it look like the next episode is Kumiko's gonna have a lot to do, and then she's done in the first 2 minutes, and then we really save all this time for the Shun side where shit really needs to happen.
Yeah, because even earlier in the season, just the sage meeting her was considered to be amazing that he survived.
Yeah. So, and I think at this point, a lot of people, there's got to be people talk about how dangerous she is, but at this point, people haven't really seen anything. All the stories that we know, how many cool things she's done, who would know that other than us, the viewers? So the people, the stories everybody thinks is so feared about this must be something to do with her just coming in, decimating an army or something, destroying, coming out of the labyrinth, destroying a fortress as soon as she walks out, destroying an entire army. All this shit could really be building up her name.
Yeah, even just a skirmish with the sage, the fact that he almost died from that when he was as famous as he was.
Yeah.
Combined with blowing up Oat's fortress, and I guess no one would know about her murdering a Queen Terratect at this point. But
this could also be the moment where, I mean, this is kind of linked to, because the one big question we've always had is the teacher saying that Wakaba is dead.
Yeah.
Now we know that, because we're oh, where would she get that info? Maybe the stories just said that she was dead, but she has an ability that literally says when they die.
True.
So if Wakaba is Kumiko, at some point it says that she dies, unless the teacher's just keeping that secret. Unless she's still lying about that part.
Yeah, because, I mean, I feel like the guy in the hood was probably another reincarnation.
Probably.
So she could be just lying about the reincarnations who are on the other side.
Since they showed him with everyone else, I've got to assume he's Shun's friend. That's gonna have to be my guess
based
for now.
on the context, yeah.
Just because we've seen he's the only real missing one that we actually know who has a name that we're supposed to care about.
Yeah.
And we know he's not dead, but we know he's not there. So he's probably gonna be that one. We'll probably find out next week though. Obviously, if you're a fan of Kumo Desu, which you probably are if you're watching this, I can only assume. Biggest audience we have on our channel. Yeah. Make sure to leave a comment down below. As always, our favorite part is you go through and you comment anything we got wrong this week. So Anything we got wrong, put it down. I did deliberately ask a couple questions here, so if you know any of the answers to those questions, put those down below. Of course, if they're spoilers, make sure you properly tag it so everybody knows what they're getting into and no one gets the show spoiled for them. We got maybe, 3 to 5 episodes left?
Yeah, we're coming down to the wire. So
we're going to spend probably at least 2 episodes in this war, I can only assume.
Maybe on the human side?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think on the Kumiko side, but on the human side, and maybe, as I said, I still think the ending is going to be Kumiko side encounter with Ariel, kind of leading us to how we get to the 15-year mark later. And then I think the human side is going to end with probably Hugo dying, Sophia not dying, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Sophia seems like the one who would carry on as opposed to Hugo.
Yeah, she'll probably stay in the Demon Lord army, still probably be a little bit of a bitch, but I think Hugo's done for. You can only watch this person lose so many times before you stop caring. And he's already lost, the last time he had the whole fight. And
True.
If he loses here, I think that we're just not going to care anymore, and he just needs to die.
Yeah.
That's the guess anyways. Keep up, though. Next week, we'll be talking about episode number 21. And if you guys have any comments, leave them down below. We'll be here next week with episode 21. Next up on the list is My Hero Academia, episode number 98.
That which is inherited.
So a pretty big episode.
Bit,
just for I was gonna say lore. I don't know if lore is the right word, but context in a sense.
I think lore is a good choice. Yeah.
Okay. No notes on this one at all. It's been a while, but for the most part, we're starting the Deku fight.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's simple as that. We got Deku, we got Grape Juice, we got Ura Chaco, whatever the hell her name is.
Oh, Chaco.
Yeah, I just combined both her names. And who's the last one? Who?
Mina.
Oh, Acid Girl. Yeah, what the stupid name. On the enemy team, we have 5 people. You have Shinzo, you got Blonde Douchebag, you got...
Lanima.
Yeah, you got... how the fuck do you remember all of these people's names?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember anyone's name ever, let alone every single member from every class.
There's Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Which is her hero name's Emily.
Yep. I knew that.
Rule, which is the big small girl.
Yep.
Then I don't remember his name, but his power is double hit.
Okay, well that's the 5 of them. So what a team they have here. And for the most part, this fight starts off. We know Deku's team is trying to do the same thing as Bakugo in a sense, but then we also know that the enemy team's like, hey, you're going to do the same thing as Bakugo, so we're not going to do the same thing. I also I didn't think how OP it would be for some reason about the guy who can steal quirks stealing Shinzo's quirk. I'm like, that is?
Yeah, the fact that there's 2 people you have to be worried about.
Especially because he's so douchey, you'd have to want to respond to him.
Yeah, I know. Him being antagonistic is his entire character arc.
Yeah, so. I mean, I think, to be fair, I was about to say, I think he used that in the tournament arc the first time. Did he not? Did he not take Shinzo's power at one point and used it?
I don't think he did. I think he took Kirishima's, Bakugo's, and a bunch of other ones.
Okay, I thought during the cavalry battle, I thought one of the ways they did that because they all just noticed that all their headbands were missing, and I think it's because there was some sort of revelation where he also used Shinzo's thing to do something.
That might be the case. I thought he just took a bunch of them.
It might be the case. It might not be. Either way, so it's a pretty powerful combo though with both of them.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it doesn't really. I don't know how to explain how this doesn't work out for anybody. It's going pretty well for them. They're kind of winning. For the most part.
I mean, kind of. The Monoma versus Deku fight's very neutral.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, basically it's neutral. Not one's winning, but the whole point is he's just stalling Deku while the rest of his team's going to lose. The whole point is it's just him stalling him out while, they're going to go take out his team by locating them. And then basically what happens is he just absolutely pisses Deku off. I think, what does he say? He blames... I think he makes fun of Bakugo. He blames Bakugo for the reason that All Might lost his powers.
Yeah, how can Bakugo still stand there when he doesn't act like a hero and he's the reason
because he knows that he could make fun of Deku as much as he wants and Deku won't care.
Yeah,
but because he's like Deku's weakness in a sense is his friends. At the same time though, the conversation I liked before this was the 2 of them talking like Shinzo and Blonde Douchebag, and they're mentioning how it's like not very hero like in a sense to have to use stuff like that, but they do it anyways.
Yeah, because that's what they have to do in order to make progress with their quirks.
Yeah, plus, I mean, in a sense in this, they're also both somehow playing villains and playing heroes at the same time.
True.
So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with using a little bit of villainy when you're half pretending to be villains. But obviously, upon pissing Deku off, Deku loses control of his powers. Something weird starts happening.
He suddenly gains an energy projectile power, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of green bandage things flying off him, and he's kind of just attacking everything, including his friends and allies, and
yeah, he's just going complete destruction mode at this point.
Yeah, he's getting absolutely fucked. He's wrecking everybody. The whole battle, All Might knows something's wrong, and he calls the teachers in to go stop this battle. Everything's just going all sorts of wrong.
All Might specifically had a revelation about what Gran Torino said about his teacher's vision or dream,
about how she had the vision and it like wasn't time.
Yeah.
So implying that eventually it will be time, which we've seen. Obviously it's Deku, but come on, it's an anime about Deku.
Yeah, we even got the scene with All For One just going, the memories are stirring, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, so right in time, Uraraka comes to try to help him, does nothing. Like let's be honest, she does shit all.
I mean, yeah.
She does nothing, but as she's looking, she sees Shinzo. He's just kind of staring there dumbstruck, like he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And that's where she's like, "Oh, Shinzo, like help him," kind of thing. And we know exactly how he can help him. And then Shinzo, but like this is the moment though where he does it like a hero, though.
Yeah.
I think he just yells like, "Deku, fight me." To be fair, he just yells, "Fight me." And if you don't put the higher range on it, is it really a question?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be a question.
Fight me?
It doesn't have to be a question specifically. I think you just have to respond to what he says.
Yeah, so he yells, "Fight me," and then Deku yells, "Yeah." And then, takes over. He instantly goes black. And then once again, like last time, we get to see him talking. This time it's one very specific vestige.
Yeah.
He's coming out and he's like, "Hey, that was my quirk you were using." He's like, "You were using it pretty bad." And he kind of explains the quirk a little bit. Explains just in like and the main point of it is that we know that all the vestiges who had quirks, Deku will have the ability to use them at some point.
Yeah.
Now, he even mentioned just like how it took in just a pretty long time to train just to be able to use like one for all.
Yeah.
You got to train with this. You have to work towards it. Like they're all going to be controlled differently.
It's not something you can use without thinking anymore. It's just exact line.
Yeah, it's exact line. You can't just turn your brain off and smash, Detroit smash someone. You have to actually actively think. And I think we're going to see him do it relatively fast. I think he's going to use it to some proficiency in the next one. Not very well.
Yeah.
He'll probably fuck up a little bit, but I think I was really surprised. One of the last scenes we see is that Shinzo, bandage whips and goes right for Uraraka.
Yeah.
I thought immediately Deku was going to have one of his like weird bandage things go and catch it, and it was like bandage fight, but it didn't happen. It still might next week, but
I mean, yeah, I feel like he's going to try and use it next week. I don't know if he's going to do well with it. But
here's the thing: he got to speak to that guy because the vestige thing again. Just keep letting Shinzo mind control you. Like, hey, I got 2 more minutes, guy. Can you explain to me again how to use this quirk? Like, I get some things come out and stuff, but like,
I mean, he explained a little bit of it. Like, it's called Black Whip, I think specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very just good at grabbing and grappling things. That's its entire purpose.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's useful. I definitely think we're going to see him use it to restrain someone during this big, during his little final battle here.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good episode. I think that a lot of it just comes down to not really what happened in the episode, but what it implies for the future. That's just one quirk out of what, like 7 or something? Like,
yeah, and this basically just gives him a free Deus Ex Machina whenever he needs it.
Yeah, and like this one right now is really good for holding people captive and maybe like rescuing a little bit more than his current power is in a sense. But like who knows what else we'll be getting?
Yeah, it took him from a brawler to being able to act in utility as well. It also gave him a more reliable mid to long range attack.
Yeah, I'm just thinking what else. Like I was trying to guess this with a different friend that watches anime the other day of like what else could he get. Because obviously, like super speed and super strength, they're both pretty much just come naturally with one for all.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's part of it.
Teleportation.
Teleportation, but I feel like if you're so fast, you're teleporting anyways. It's just one of those things where all powers slowly become the same power if you think hard enough about them. It's like the DC syndrome.
Maybe teleporting other things?
I mean, maybe he gets clapped teleport like Jujutsu Kaisen, just take other people's things.
If he just turns into Toto, oh my god.
Oh my god, multi-shadow clone jutsu. Make 2 Dekus. That would be pretty cool.
I could see him doing that.
I could see him doing that. Then work together. Like that's Naruto's a classic. The fights always look really cool whenever he's doing like cool, multi Naruto attacks.
Do we think they're just gonna start ripping off other shonens and just
you have to?
He's gonna get like the gum fruit powers?
Because like it's not like he's gonna get fire power. Because I mean like Todoroki. Like
I mean they might give him some sort of like beam attack.
Excuse me, that's can't stop twinkling's thing, Jimmy. Stop trying to take his shit. Okay, he already gets the shit on the stick every time. But yeah, it was a very good episode. A lot of it was just setting up for the future. We've barely started this current fight in the episode.
Yeah.
They start the fight, it immediately goes to hell, and then at the very end, it's like Shinzo making one attack that Deku catches.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rest of the crew started attacking too because they didn't know things were going wrong.
Yeah, they after they started hearing like stuff exploding and everything, and that they're like, okay, maybe shit's not happening well over here. Like they're like, what is going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love how everyone watching this too are just like, wait, Deku got another power? What bullshit is this?
Yeah, they're like, wait, how does he have it? Like, it literally has nothing to do with anything else he can do. Like, when he's doing his flicky fingers, that's just like he's strong. He's using the force of. But I was like, this is like nothing at all relating to what he can do.
You think he's gonna like try and bullshit what his quirk actually is? Just like
I don't know. Bakugo is gonna be like, dude, what the fuck was that? Like, what? How? That's not one for all. I've never seen All Might do that. And Deku's gonna be like,
He's gonna like try and explain. It's like my quirk's actually evolution. I get the bullshit power of.
He's like, yeah, I actually have all the quirks. Oh, that sucks, Bakugo.
They just randomly show up. So
don't you wish you would have taken all one for all now or whatever? But I don't know. It was a good episode. A lot of implied for the future. Excited for the next couple of weeks because we're gonna have to finish this battle off.
True.
And then
I don't think this fight's gonna last long.
The all for one little thing where him laughing, that kind of stuff. That's a nice little setup for some real shit happening after this whole battle.
It is, yeah.
It's done.
I do like how intense the security on him is.
Yeah, it's
like he moved and there's an alarm going off.
Yeah, he stirred slightly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited, and obviously you could tell in this episode, All Might was also like a little jittery. With, after hearing the master thing here with like the right timing, everything going on with Deku currently with his power going kind of ape shit.
Yeah, I wonder if All Might's a little ticked that he didn't get any of these extra powers.
I think no, because it's All Might. But I mean,
true.
All Might. I think All Might's just literally too pure good to actually care.
That is true. But do you think Mirio would be a little miffed if he finds out Deku now has 2 quirks?
I don't. I mean,
he doesn't have any.
Dude does. Yeah, I was like, dude's gonna have like 7 quirks, and Mirio's got none. Maybe you can just give one away. One of them will be teleportation. He'll be like, you know what, Mirio, have this, bud.
Imagine he just gets the. Oh god, what was it called?
Like the pass-through stuff one?
Yeah, Permeance or something.
I don't know. It's not even that good of a quirk. It's just that the guy who had it's really good.
Yeah, but imagine he just gets the same quirk as Mirio. He goes to him and was like, hey, can you teach me how to use this
check
real
this
quick?
out, man. Like puts his arm through something. See what I can do? Can you do that? Nope. Didn't think so. But yeah.
Oh god.
Good episode. Enjoyed it a lot. Not that much combat. Well, pretty much it's almost like a filler episode, but not at all a filler episode.
It was a gap in the fight, but it was a massive progression.
Yeah, so I don't know how many more episodes we have of the tournament arc thingy. Probably just 2, I'd say, at max.
I mean, this would be the last fight, so do you think the fight's going to drag out?
I think they can do 2 episodes. I don't really consider this last one a real part of the fight. I think it's more of the character development and growth with the quirk with Deku. I think we can possibly get 2 episodes.
Yeah, but think about the quirks that are going on here. Like, do you really think Deku's team has a good chance at this?
No.
Deku's trying to learn a new quirk.
I feel like it literally once again has to be up to Deku. Like I think the other ones always have something they can do to make them seem like they're useful.
Uraraka is good in close quarter combat.
I mean, they were doing stuff like they were like touching things and stuff, but the other team was like literally kicking their ass.
Yeah, well,
it's like one of them just has the ability to fucking control anything. Like,
yeah, she can move. There's a weight limit, but I guess it doesn't matter if it's shrunk.
Yeah, one person can make it small, and then they can just throw them, and then she can make it big again.
Yeah, so they're literally just rocking artillery cannons depending on how the inertia carries.
Yeah, like they were kind of getting decimated, and like Deku's good and all, but like he could not. If that was Bakugo probably could have taken out the one dude in the first like 10 seconds. Like Deku should have been able to easily overpower that guy with his powers. He wasn't using anything. He wasn't using no powers. He was just like hopping around him. I guess he was using Poltergeist or something.
Monoma is using Poltergeist, yeah.
But at the same time, though, like 20% one for all should be stronger than that. He should be like super fast, one-shot punching him in the throat.
Well, there's more Monoma was just very agile in that. He's using Poltergeist to evade.
Yeah, but still.
Because Deku doesn't actually have aerial mobility like Bakugo. He has to jump at someone, land, then jump again.
He could like kick so hard it changes the momentum. If he's flicking hard enough that like, I mean, it's causing air stuff, he could easily just midair kick to stop momentum.
I don't have my degree in physics, so I don't know how this works.
Whatever. Deku could do it. Once again, Bakugo's better than Deku. It's just being proved every time. Bakugo would have been done that fight by now.
I mean, Bakugo's just a straight up brawler. Like, he's just really good in combat.
And that's what Deku's supposed to be right now, too. It's like they're even like, oh, he's like the same thing as Bakugo.
But even that, he has more utility than Bakugo. Like, if a building falls on me, I want Deku to come lift it off me and not Bakugo blasting it away.
Listen, whatever works. As long as I'm surviving the attack, I don't give a fuck how they do it.
Yeah, you're going to lose a few limbs if Bakugo shows up.
I would rather have fucking grape juice stick me into something and fly away. Like, I don't really care which one I'm getting as long as it's happening.
Yeah, you think they're going to do anything with grape juice this fight?
They're going to try to give him a moment. The moment's not going to be cool, though. It's like the equivalent of like the Can't Stop Twinkling guy. His like coolest moment in the entire show was just him doing a back bridge into a laser beam. It meant nothing to anyone, but I was like, you know what? Good for him.
Hey, that was a beacon.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, they'll give Grape Juice a moment where it's like funny and it's like, yeah, at least he thinks he's doing something. But will it be that important? Probably not.
I mean, his little grape balls are good at locking people down.
I guess I want like an episode where he makes like a rope out of them and like attaches someone, then puts in like an plane propeller, and it just slowly pulls them, towards the propeller until they just get blitzed or something.
Did he turn into a villain at some point? Like,
I hope so. Like if that's a twist in the show, like grape juice becomes like the new one for or all for one.
Yeah,
I'm down for it.
I just realized grape juice is probably a liability in this fight too.
Probably.
Think about it. He's throwing little sticky balls at people, and there's someone who can control little objects on the other team.
And there's someone who can then make them bigger.
Oh, God.
They're all going to be stuck to something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen for him to come and get a really cool moment. Either way, though, I'm excited for next week. If you guys liked the episode of My Hero Academia, leave us a comment about it down below. Obviously, one of the really big animes of the season, one of the biggest shown in a long time. I don't see tons of comments about it, but that just might be a lot of people waiting till we're getting to the more active arc.
Yeah, tournament arcs are always hard to comment
on. Or like
too.
how we talk about too sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to really just get, into discussions about fights and stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully when we get more, this was a more story-focused episode, so if you have any theories about any of the stuff with All for One or anything or no, One for All. Any theories about anything for the One for All, let us know down below. Any quirks you think he's going to get in the future. Yeah. No manga spoilers, though. Stay away from that. Next up on the list is another big one. It is Vivy, episode number 10.
Singing from My Heart.
So this episode felt like it was nothing and then felt like it was everything. That's the easiest way I can describe it.
Yeah, it felt almost like an epilogue episode up until the end.
It did. I was like, okay, there's like, so I was looking at my phone, like I wrote notes. No, I didn't. So for the most part, after what happened last time with, Diva leaving, Vivy taking over again after the concert, Vivy couldn't sing.
Yeah, she lost her ability to sing. She lost basically her drive to perform in one mission.
Yeah, because realistically, they are like two different people in the sense. The last time we saw Vivy was like way back in the Metal Float arc. And this is her just coming back from what happened, seeing how like Diva lived the concerts, how like happy she was, that kind of stuff, how good she was at it. I just don't think she could handle it. So now she's just retired, and where we see her at the start of the show, she is in her chair, plugged in at this like the AI museum.
Yep.
Exactly where we see her when the show first starts. And she's just kind of chilling there. And, at one point she's just trying to, I think it basically just becomes implied that like every year Matsumoto visits her. Yep. He visits for the first time and she's like, oh, like, okay, like give me a job. What are we doing? Like, what are we hitting up for this Singularity project? Let's go. I'm pumped. I got my fucking Combat program all loaded. He's like, oh, no, like we're done with that. That's over. Like, no big deal.
Yeah, we succeeded. Everything's done. Like, that was the last Singularity point.
He's like, we succeeded. Like, we're good now. You just chill here. He's like, maybe sing. She's like, I can't. He's like, okay, don't do that.
Okay.
He's like, but you know what? Like, it's the anniversary when we first met. I'm visiting you. Maybe I'll come back next year. And she's like, okay. And then, like, it just kind of goes like that for a couple of years. At some point, we see, like, a class come up, and a little boy's looking at her. And then he leaves, and he comes back, and he's like, hey, I know who you are. Like, my friends, if anything, were fucking idiots for not knowing who you are. These guys were idiots because they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And he's like a fan. He's like, hey, can you sing for me? And she's like, fuck, no, I can't.
Yeah, I can't sing a single thing anymore.
Yeah, she's like, I can't sing anything. And he's like, oh. And then she's like, oh, how about, like, I'll make you a deal. Like, I'll work on my singing thing, and you work on making friends. And he's like, okay, I suppose. They have, like, a little race. It's like, see who's done first kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we see that she mentions she can't sing songs, and she decides one thing she's going to try and do is she's going to try and write a song.
Yeah, because she looks up and she checks and see if any AI has ever written one of their own volition before. And none ever have.
None ever have, so she decides she wants to do it, and she's pretty much stuck. She's got like fucking 2 verses done or whatever. She can't sing it, but she's like playing it.
It wasn't even verses. It was like 2 like refrains, like 2 lines.
Yeah, and it's not working very well. Matsumoto keeps coming by year after year, stopping by, seeing how it's going. Nothing's really ever getting done.
Yeah.
And then we slowly get to see throughout the episode the boy who was visiting her. He keeps coming in, getting a little bit older, comes in with friends eventually. Just like a little montage. She's happy for him, that kind of stuff. And we just, we see him come in and he's getting married.
Yeah.
We see like the mother of the child holding the baby, all this kind of fun stuff. It's all looking good.
Yeah. And then anime happens.
And he comes in and his wife's dead. Died during childbirth, and he's like, oh, he's not like that sad about it. Like, it's not that he's not sad about it. He's like, oh, but like, she, at least we have this baby. Baby's cool and that kind of stuff. Like life happens sometimes. Nothing you can do about it. Just got to move on. And we're seeing all this. And we're just like seeing his life go on, and we're basically seeing Vivy. I'm trying to remember what the actual breakthrough. I think it was just holding the baby. He's like, hey, hold my baby. And she's like, okay, dude. And she like puts the glass down, holds the baby, tugs at her finger, and she's like, oh my God.
She has that big moment. It's like, oh.
She's like, oh, feelings all of a sudden. So then she goes, she writes her song. She still can't sing the song, but she can play the song.
Yeah, she just has the actual like melody out. She doesn't actually have the verse, I think.
So she writes the song like that. Matsumoto comes. He's like, oh, she did it, and then she's like, I'm going to sleep now. She's like, I am tired from all this brain complexity of writing song.
Yeah.
So she basically goes to sleep. She takes a little nappy.
Yeah, and even Matsumoto was just like, you've been working on this for a really long time.
Yeah, and then
I'm
same
gonna let
with
you have this.
Otsamu. Was his name Otsamu? Something along those lines. The kid Otsumu.
Otsuma. Osama.
One of these names. He's one of these names. He comes by and he's like, oh, oh, she did it because she like sent him like the file.
Yeah, I don't even know if she sent it or if he just like checked it.
Yeah, and he might have just checked it and be like, oh, look at that, because he's like obviously into programming and that kind of shit. Yeah. So he like checks it. He's like, oh, look at that, she finished it. He's like, yeah, you deserve a rest now. So take a rest. And then Vivy wakes up. And it's fucking chaos. We're literally in the AI part.
We are back to the start of the show.
Yeah, we see like an AI like murdering a human, and Vivy's just terrified. And then I went back and I watched the first episode, the first part. And the guy who sends back Matsumoto is in fact the Otsuma, or the fuck his name is.
They actually said his name too.
Yeah, at the very
Matsumoto.
end. Yeah.
Yeah, like when he's walking away, there was like Matsumoto.
Like, oh yeah, Mr. Matsumoto, come on. And I'm like, fuck. Like, of course. I'm like, what a twist.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious if they met this way but originally, or if this is.
They had to have.
But the thing is, she wasn't popular the first time. But she was retired much earlier, and she wasn't well known.
But like, he's still deliberate. Like even like the Matsumoto AI at one point is like, I don't know why like you were chosen for this.
Well, Matsumoto did say she was the only AI that was still around for that long.
Yeah, but I feel like it was also like he mentioned at one point, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not really completely understanding why it was like her. Like there could have been other options, but like I think that now it's like implied that it's her because like he had like was a big fan, a little bit of obsession. But if she never really became that big, I mean, she was still like big before.
No, she wasn't.
Was she not?
Matsumoto described her future. I'm assuming Matsumoto didn't lie or have faulty information here, but he said she retired after like 30 years and was donated to the museum as the novelty of the first. Oh God, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't remember.
Autonomous, yeah. Autonomous AI, and she was donated there, and she just happened to be kicking around. And
I mean, 30 years is a good career, though.
I mean, not when she could have gone for 60. Like,
I mean, but for like all we know, many of these same type of things happened in like a sense, and like I don't know, we just don't know enough. We haven't even seen the whole like branching timeline image thing in a while, if you think about it.
I mean,
it was always the start of every single arc used to be showing the two different like branching timelines.
Yeah, it would show the singularity point, then it would show the one that we're currently on.
And we haven't seen that. We didn't see that for the entire Ophelia arc at the very least, and we haven't seen that anytime since.
Didn't they show it at the start of the Ophelia arc? It just didn't feel like it because they did the episode where Matsumoto showed up and was talking to Diva.
Maybe they just didn't like confirm it later or anything like that.
Maybe
but
not.
Obviously, we know that something did not work out, and whether or not this was supposed to be the way it is and something else is changing. I feel like next episode has to like reveal a bunch.
Yeah, because obviously something has changed. Because even Matsumoto said, for some reason, even though Ophelia still committed suicide, she did this time with her sound bot.
Yeah, this time like other AIs didn't follow suit. They're like, people, they still think that AIs have like souls now. She's like, people still saw the whole suicide with her like robot thingy, but for some reason, no other AIs followed.
Yeah, which that has to mean something.
I don't know. Yeah, the difference of just her dying beside her robot guy, people are being, oh, look at that, that's cute. Like,
it's less depression and more like reunited lovers, I guess.
I don't know. I feel like it would still cause some sort of other AI suicide if they're like, oh, I lost my fellow AI a while ago. Goodbye.
I don't know. Wasn't Ophelia the name of the character in Hamlet that killed themselves?
I don't know. I've never read Hamlet.
Okay.
Shakespeare's garbage.
I will slap you for that later, but.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that from what I heard, there's 13 episodes of Vivy. This was episode 10, so there's still
we
three.
Got 3 episodes in the fucked future.
Yeah, I think that there still could be a part where it's all fixed again.
Maybe they limit the damage, but there was one thing that I also noticed about the AIs that were going off. They were singing.
Yeah, just chilling. Yeah, having a good song.
Did the melody sound familiar to you?
I think that they were singing in the original one too, though. Or I mean, not all of them, but some of them were.
I don't know if they were.
There was one up on the stage.
Yeah, there was the one on the stage, but that was its entire job, was just to sit on the stage and sing. Mm-hmm. It was like fucking the band from.
What if like Diva's song causes like a fucking?
That's what I was thinking.
Like a mental breakdown in AIs. They're like, I cannot compute.
Something about the first free-willed written AI song broke them.
I don't know. I'm excited to see, like, within the next 3 episodes, I feel like we're going to get a lot of information. But this episode, just with the whole, like, Matsumoto thing was pretty big.
Yeah.
Like, he, like, uploaded his own consciousness to go back to an AI from, like, 100 years in the past and then try and stop a war.
I mean, was it, like, I don't think it was his own consciousness.
I don't know, but I feel like that...
It was, I think, at least they said it was a program he sent back. He
At
just
the same
named
time,
himself after his creator.
We've seen him named the same, but we've also seen, like, Matsumoto has a lot of personality.
That is true.
For, like, an AI.
He's developed a lot since it started.
Yeah.
He was a little snarky at the first, and that's just grown.
Yeah, like, he obviously has a connection with Vivy, and we've also seen a lot of personality from him compared to, like, a lot of other AIs we've seen.
Yeah.
So there could be something with that. There's also the question of, like, Matsumoto's child.
Yeah, I'm really curious about what ends up happening to them.
Yeah, because it's like, what, 65 years when she goes into the museum area, and then we, like, see a lot of years pass in there, but I'm assuming this kid is at least grown up to some extent.
Yeah, it's at least been he's got kind of a receding hairline, so I'd put 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, so there's a decent chance we see something to do with that as well. Maybe that's like,
yeah, because I don't think the kid's gonna be very old at this point.
No,
maybe 10. Oh god, what if it would? No, because that was 100 years in the past. Never mind. I was gonna say, what if it was the kid that was on the plane?
Twist, and that kid went back in time. No, we're gonna get off topic here.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very good episode. Obviously, we're leading to the shit that matters the most, the actual beginning of the show with the war between the AIs and stuff, and just seeing how Viv responds. I think we're gonna get her trying to stop a lot of AIs in the next episode, using all of her combat prowess just to try and stop them from killing humans. I think it's gonna be a big kind of like rescue from her. Maybe she's gonna meet with other humans who are like resisting.
Yeah, because from the next time it showed, all I really remember is that Vivy kicking ass.
Yeah.
And somebody who's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, who do you think's in a wheelchair?
I don't know.
Guy from Toke.
It was a woman.
Oh. It's got to be a character she knows.
Toke guy's daughter?
It's the sister of the girl that died on the plane that she was with.
Maybe. For all I know, it's just an AI whose legs don't work.
I mean, maybe. But then you think that they would just replace the legs. Like, I feel like replacing the legs would be the same cost as the wheelchair.
I mean, maybe they thought it gave it personality. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll be finding out next week. I think we're going to get a couple nice episodes in the last 3. So if you're a fan of Vivy, let us know down below. Leave us comments, theories before the show ends.
Yeah.
Just let us know how you're liking the series, because obviously I think this is going to be a one-off kind of show. So I hope it goes down. I know that a lot of people are really liking the quality. To me, the quality of the animation, the sound quality on it,
everything's
some of the
really
best,
well dialed in.
Some of the best we've seen in a long time. So
there's been a couple like rough patches with the animation, I think, but everything's been really on point.
Yeah, I think that they save. I think that the rough patches, if anything, are just like the difference in animation sometimes by like how much they use when they're doing combat and stuff.
Oh god, yeah.
And like just certain still shots. Like anytime they do like a close up of Vivi's eyes, it always just looks insane.
Oh god, yeah.
But then sometimes when she's just like walking around a room, they're not like let's break the budget on making her walk across this room.
I know it's a standard trick, but there's been a couple of things where it's like, okay, I can see someone trying to like freeze frame this and using it to diss the show.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that next week though, and probably every week for the next 3 weeks until then. So let us know what you think down below, and we'll be talking about episode number 11 next week. Next up on the list is the 86, episode number 8.
Let's go.
Let's go. So I think this episode, I'm trying to think.
Sad.
It was sad, but like not much more sad in my opinion than most of the episodes.
It was sad for a different reason.
Because there were some fucked up parts. Like we know, obviously, based off last episode, that none of the 86 are living.
Yeah, this is straight up an execution ground.
Straight up, literally, it's just the what are they called? The spearhead.
Yeah,
it's just a platoon where you send all the people who are too close to retiring, and they're not allowed to retire.
Yeah, and if they manage to live too long, you just send them into enemy territory until they don't come back.
I think there's so much emotional complexity with the best friend character in this episode that I don't know how to respond to her. I don't know if I should hate her.
She went from 0 to 100 real goddamn quick.
Yeah, I don't know if I should hate her, if I should like feel bad for her, if I should like pity her, if I should like.
I think all of the above is actually a really valid response for her.
Yeah,
because she was obviously broken as a kid. And she gave into pressure, which is something a child is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And she sees what she could have been through. Oh God, what's her name?
Lena.
I wanted to call her Emily. It's like, no, that's the My Hero Academia chick.
Well, it's like Millennia or Millenz or what the fuck her full name is. But
yeah, and I think that just kind of broke her, especially considering she's the one who told her dad not to take them in.
Yeah. Also, was the family that she was supposed to take in, was it Shin?
I'm willing to bet, yeah.
Because like they showed like I don't know if they showed the actual board.
They showed a little like newspaper boy with the
and it looked very much like the kid Shin there. I was like, of course we're gonna have to be at Shin and his family.
Yeah. Oh God, imagine Lena going off. It's like, wait, what do you mean the guy I'm in love with is?
Yeah, so basically, for the most part, Lena's still just trying to deal with the information she got, right? She hasn't called back yet. Even like we're seeing the 86 before they go in their big mission, acknowledging they're like, oh, like she at least could have called to say bye, kind of thing, after all this time. And
I mean, they were kind of like on the fence because they were like, we told her not to call, but we kind of expected her to call anyway.
Which I think shows like all the different growth between them, because obviously when we started off, they didn't want her to call at all, and they just like made fun of her the entire time. And then I think that she at least proved that even though, she can't actually do anything to help them, that she at least cares. Yeah. So now in this, they're torn. They're like, it's a good thing she's not calling, because they want her to not call for her, because, they don't want her to get any more emotionally attached because they're all going to die. But at the same time, they're like, but like she could have called, like, last time maybe. Like, we kind of see them coming around and they're like, no, it's a good thing she didn't. And we see her dealing with it. And one of the ways we've seen her deal with it for the most part so far is she has two options: go to her best friend and go to her uncle. And she tries both in the episode, and neither go the way she wants.
Yeah, the best friend just turns out to be a broken mess.
Yeah, the best friend gives the past the story, right, about how she was friends with an 86 when she was younger, and then then eventually she didn't like understand the differences. But then throughout like school, they basically made fun of her for like being friends with an 86. So then one day she kind of snapped on him and called him like a dark-eyed something, or some sort of.
The word they used in the translation I watched was colored.
Oh, well, okay.
Which
okay, guys, let's calm down the 86 before you guys get canceled. But either way, because the 86 we've seen have been various different skin tones.
I think it's just implying that they're not pale with white hair.
Okay, I guess anything that's not excessively pale, like all the rest of the people.
If you're not albino, you're bad. Is basically the 86s.
But yeah, so she snaps at this kid basically and is like, no, like don't hang out with me, don't talk to me because you're like colored or whatever the hell they say. Obviously not a very nice thing to say. Kind of loses a friend, and then even like to go the next step beyond at some point when this whole like persecution of the 86 happens, her dad, who's like a scientist at the time, he wants to bring in their neighbors so they're not captured. Very much things we've seen like World War II before about sheltering the Jewish people, and then the daughter's like, and then the character's like, no, like don't do it. And the dad's like, okay, I guess I won't if you don't want me to, which leads to this family if it is like just getting shipped out, or like if it was Shin's family, we kind of know the general outcome to what may have happened.
The parents died, then the brother got shipped out.
But either way, it's kind of bad, and she just goes off about how like freaking out, basically being, I don't know, it's like hard to explain. It's like, yeah, she's kind of a garbage person, but there's not really, I don't know, she's kind of,
she didn't have a choice based on the society is what it's trying to say, I think.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where she's basically just saying it's easier to go with the grain. She's like, even though she knows something's wrong, she's like, it's too hard for her as a person to go against it. And she's basically saying like, Lena's just as bad as her, if not worse, because she's like, she thinks she thinks that she's going to change things or go against it. And she's like getting people's hopes up over nothing that she can do about it and stuff like that. And then at the end of the conversation, she's just like, don't let me ever see you again.
Yeah.
So, a great way for a conversation with a friend to go. That's how you always want them to end.
Yeah. There was a little more to the conversation. They do go into how the para raid was made.
Oh, yeah.
Like talking about how her father ended up experimenting on the 86.
And then how she continued her work after.
Yeah, after he offed himself because he couldn't deal with the guilt.
Yeah. So her father was the guy who invented the para raid, who's the system that she used to communicate with the 86, and he invented it with a lot of human experimentation upon 86 children. And then even after he eventually couldn't take it anymore, because as we've seen from what we've heard from him, he sounds like a decent guy.
Yeah.
He wanted to shelter in his neighbors, the 86, instead of sending them away.
Yeah. They even talk about how the initial experiments was just like, hey, kids, mom's behind this curtain. Can you tell me what she's thinking?
Yeah. But obviously the experiments probably got darker and darker.
Yeah. The moment the government's like, hey, we could use this for military applications. Go cut some heads open.
But yeah, eventually he couldn't take it anymore and he killed himself. And then she even mentions that she continued his work after that. So, Lena's a little bit turned off by that, clearly. And just the rest of the conversation doesn't go very well until eventually it comes down to the don't let me see you again. Upon that, Lena goes to her uncle. She's like, oh, here's my next source of where to go to, and just gets equally a shutdown.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm trying to remember the exact way the conversation goes.
Basically, she approaches him saying, I want permission to cancel this order. They shouldn't die. They're human. She goes on her usual rant. And he just says, no, nobody cares. It's better if they die.
Yeah, pretty much. That's basically the way it goes.
Yeah. Like he straight up says, like, if people find out what we've done, we'll become a pariah and we're basically done.
Yeah, he basically mentions the fact that, like, if other areas, like if any of the 86 live and the war ends and other states and that kind of stuff figure out what they did to them, then everybody will get mad at them for treating these people so terribly. So it's just better if all of them die, so that when the war's over, their social standing stays the same.
Which I think people might notice that there's a lot of people missing.
I mean, probably, but they'll just say that, like, oh, the 86 were drafted and they unfortunately all died in the war.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you say, like, all the 86 were drafted, but all of us weren't.
I think that they know that stuff will get out. I think it's just deliberately about how they're purposely not letting any of the 86 live. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like it's going to logically, come out in the wash.
Probably.
Like, this is just a really half-assed
It'll be one of,
attempt.
but I guess it'll be one of those things that, like, known by everybody, but it's technically hearsay or rumor. So, like, you can't actually count it.
And they could even argue, like, people don't really know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then of course we do get to see more of Shin's side, especially thinking back to his childhood. The information, because we've seen part of this before. We've seen him, like, some sort of weird, complicated relationship with his brother. We've seen that scene before of his brother's face looking pissed, and we didn't know where that's from. Because we've only seen his brother once, and he seems like a nice lad. Giving a girl some chocolate, saving her.
Yeah, because I don't even think it's from Shin's point of view. It's from the brother as he's dying.
Yeah.
Like, his dying thoughts were about the one time he snapped on his brother for everyone dying and him getting drafted.
Yeah, so in this we see, he gets the note about his parents dying, and then he literally just immediately goes to blaming Shin and telling him that it's all his fault that his parents died. And then he starts choking him to death.
Yeah.
Until someone comes in and stops him. Who was the someone?
Was it a person? Like, was it an important person?
It could have been. The person looked like they had platinum hair. Like, shorter platinum hair, too.
I mean, I just thought it was a priest or something from where they were living, so.
Could have been. I don't know. I feel like everyone always has importance in some way. In my mind right now, I'm just picturing the uncle. But I don't think it's the uncle.
I seriously doubt it would be the uncle. It might have been Helena's father.
Maybe. We've only ever seen him with long hair, and this was a short hair guy. But I'm pretty sure he had really light hair.
I mean, the guy looked pretty old, so it could have just been gray.
Could have been. It could have even been the guy who's like the laughing fox commander guy. Maybe there
because that wasn't in the that wasn't in the barracks. That was in the.
This
camps.
was before, yeah. But maybe eventually, this guy. That's why he takes Shin under his wing at some point. Maybe teaches him, because Shin has to learn how to become the best at some point.
I mean, yeah.
He obviously, a lot of it's just naturally gifted, but like at some point he's also he's got to train and learn to be really good. So maybe something along those lines. I'd have to rewatch that to get exactly, but anytime I see any character, I'm like, you might be important.
Yeah, like I can picture the guy's face pretty clearly, but it just looks like a more aged version of the Doctor from A Magical Index.
Maybe it's him.
Like that'd be a hell of a crossover. Jesus.
And I think like the last really important thing we get is we see the perspective of the, what are they called, the commanders, where they are
Shepherd,
the shepherds, and it is obviously Shin in the episode mentions, he's like, my brother, he's like, it's my brother.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, like sick, like, oh, like we found him. And the whole goal, they all know this is their very last mission, so a lot of the episode is just them giving touching goodbyes and
them cleaning the place up. They're getting a little gift from the mechanic,
saying goodbye to the cat, that kind of stuff, knowing they're all gonna go die, but at least like before they die, they're gonna go get Shin's brother and maybe achieve that thing. The one guy's touching up all their neck marking things, like their
their marks.
A lot of it's just like I guess happy, not like happy, but I mean like bittersweet, like goodbyes. They're all kind of come to terms with what's happening, and that's just their life now.
Did you think that this would be the crew that survived to the end? I kind of expected Gunslinger, but
no, I mean this crew would have been my main guess. If you only gave me like 4 people, this would have been the 4 I picked.
I kind of thought Black Dog would make it, honestly.
No.
I guess they couldn't let both Black Dog and is it Anbu or Anzu?
Anju. ANJU.
I feel like that's really on the nose for the social commentary.
I know. I think that's what it is. But either way, yeah. So a lot of it's just most of the episodes just like the bittersweet, them saying goodbye to everything, and then obviously the end. We're seeing we're seeing the shepherd talk, and it's Shin's brother. It's basically like,
it's almost like regret over what his last thoughts were, because he wasn't thinking that actively.
Yeah,
it was him regretting having said that in the past.
Yeah, it's like regretting the thing that happened with Shin and being like, "Don't worry, but like now, it'll be fine because I'll make you join me."
Yeah, we'll be together forever.
Yeah, he's like, "We'll be together forever." I'm like, "Oh, great, it's one of these." So
Jesus. Yeah,
so I mean, that obviously next episode it's gonna be fire. I can only assume.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a fight. Which ones do you think are going to actually pull through? Because they're not all dead here. And I don't think they're just going to have Shin.
Maybe Anju. That's it, if I had to guess.
My bet would probably be Anju and maybe Werewolf.
I think he's dead. He's too cool. He's too best friend. Like, he's dead.
I know. I just feel like he'd probably be one of the best.
My prediction is that only Shin lives. And if it's not only Shin, then I think it'll be Anju with him. And I think that'll be it.
I'm betting only one's going to live.
If not, the only other solution is that none of them die, which is something else happens. But to me, that seems very unlikely.
Lena Deus Ex Machina is like some long-range missiles in.
Yeah, she just goes and single-handedly, like, frickin' commandeers all the mortars and fires them all or some shit. I don't know. We'll be finding out next episode.
I feel like that'd be just a little too shown.
The weirdest part about the show is that I know that this is not the only season. It has continuous source material. And I can right now not find a way to continue the show.
It is possible there's some differences. Like, they could have just, like, super sped up the series to get to this point.
Probably, but I feel like... I think they're going to keep it going. I'm just wondering, like, I'm curious, and we'll find out when we hit, like, the last episode of this season, the last episode of this core, if they're doing the 2-part one. But I'm just curious just to see how they're going to keep going. I think they're going to have to do a decent, like, plot change up. Then the formulaic, they go into a mission, a couple of them die, they come back.
Yeah, if they do keep it going, it's going to turn into more of a guerrilla warfare setup, I think.
Yeah, unless they, like, Lena does convince them to, like, and she convinces someone like her uncle that the war is not going to end in the 2 years, and they're at least like, okay, like, we won't actively kill the Spearhead Squadron yet. We'll let you try to solve this war for us.
There's only 5 of them left, though.
But then they could replenish the ranks because they wait till they're dead. If the uncle's like, okay, listen, I'll give you 1 year to solve this whole war's not going to end thing with the Spearhead Squadron with that Shen guy, and after that, if you don't do it in a year, then I kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, she might be able to convince him if they do manage to take it down the Shepherd and throw the army into disarray.
Yeah, even then, or like get proof of it with like the Shepherd, the machine of the body, or something like that, like something to kind of prove it.
They break off all the legs in the cannon, just like drag it back, and
yeah, like that would be something that's possible. That's like one of my guesses to continue it, and then we have a slightly different formula for the next season of like Milen's having to work with them more, but.
Maybe. We'll
have to wait and see. If you have any theories or thoughts about how the next episode or next season is going to go, leave them down below, and we'll be talking about the 86 next week. Next up is Tokyo Revengers episode number 8.
Rechange.
Everyone. It's all about the
They've got a theme. They got to go with it.
They got to go with it. So obviously we saw from last week, we're getting the summer festival.
Yeah.
Obviously there's more. A lot of the episode is very peaceful. It's like half it summer festival piece. Exactly what we expect. Takemichi has solved the Draken issue. And we immediately see in this, he comes off real angry about them, breaking all of his shit. And then it's all immediately de-escalated because he's got poop in his hair.
Yeah.
So Mikey and Draken, they forgave each other because Takemichi had poop in his hair.
Yeah, well, they just forgot about it. They just completely forgot about the entire fight.
They forgot about the fight. They run away laughing. They've made up. It's all good. They don't. Neither of them even remembers what they were mad about.
Yeah.
Takemichi knows what they were mad about, but neither of them remember it.
Yeah, and even then, he was going over. It's just like, oh, Mikey just couldn't accept that Pachin decided to give up.
Yeah, Mikey didn't. Yeah, Mikey couldn't accept that he wanted to give up and he wanted to save him. But Draken respected him too much, and he wanted to let him do the thing that he thought was right.
Yeah,
if he wanted to turn himself in, Draken respected his, his decision.
Yeah, because I think even Pachin was like, okay, I went too far to do this, but this is what I had to do.
Yeah, he like accepts that he went too far, but with all the shit that they did, he's like, I will take my punishment and do this.
Yeah.
So, they give up, though. He's good. So Takemichi's like, you know what? I solved this issue. Now he gets to enjoy life. So he gets to go on a date with his girlfriend. It's like a double date. It's him and, what the frick's her name?
Draken and Emma.
Hina. But I'm trying to remember her name right now.
Emma.
No, not Emma. His girlfriend. I remembered every other episode.
Hina.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So they're on a double date. Everything's good. Takemichi saved the future. And he's like, you know what? Before I go back, though, I might as well get, like, a reward. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to get to go on this cool date.
I'm sure part of him, too, is thinking, like, if I go back now, my current self is going to fuck this up.
Yeah, so, of course, he's having a great date. They're playing for prizes. He's forgiven for the whole thing with Emma.
Yeah.
Whatever that situation was. And then, right as he's about to, they get stuck in, like, near a tree. It's raining. Everything's going really well for him. Right as he's about to seal the deal and get a nice little smooch, his friend calls him. And his friend's like, hey, yeah, just be careful because I found out some dudes want to, like, stab Draken or something. And he's like, oh, fuck.
It's like, you couldn't call Draken with this?
I don't think he has Draken's number.
You couldn't call it. I guess, but my biggest question was, why didn't Takemichi just look at Tina and go, call Emma and say someone's going to try and stab Draken?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like getting her to call Emma would have made sense. There's a lot of other options. But so he's like, oh, fuck, maybe I didn't solve it. Because I'm pretty sure what he says is Who does he say? He thinks it's the leftovers.
It's the guy, or oh god, what's his name?
It's not this guy, because that's who the other guy tells him it is. Because there's two separate groups that apparently both want to stab Draken.
Yeah, so the one Takamichi finds out is the one who ran the fight group.
Yeah, the one who ran the fight group, Kizo something, whatever his name is. The one who ran Kisomani? I don't know. He's a guy. He used a bat. He ran the fight club, and he's mad. He's mad that Draken kind of embarrassed him and stopped his fight club and all that kind of shit. So he's like, I'm gonna go stab Draken. So Takamichi finds out. He's like, okay, you know what? Stay here, Hina. I gotta go find Draken. And she's like, okay.
Then he just immediately runs out and finds the gang that's playing.
He immediately finds the gang. They beat him up a little bit. And then he kind of like resorts back to old him a little bit at one point.
He does, but I think part of it was a revelation that he's like, oh wait, I'm not actually stronger.
Yeah, which we know as the audience. Every single week, I'm like, man, when is this kid gonna get stronger? He's not good still. He gets beat up every time. He's just friends now with people who are slightly stronger.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna get to see him power up a little bit.
That's what we keep saying, but it's possible that Show just never does it. It's possible that's like his thing.
The fact that he just got his teeth kicked in and was on the ground taped up until his girlfriend came and untied him.
Yeah.
I think he's at least going to do some freaking push-ups or something.
I hope so. Obviously, she finds him. She lets him go, and he's like embarrassed, and he says he's like a loser. She kisses him, and she's like, see, I gave my first kiss to someone who wasn't a loser kind of thing. And then he's like reinvigorated. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm stopping this stabbing. He's like, stay here again. I got to go stop this. And she's like, okay.
I mean, I probably would have said, like, go somewhere with a lot of people or go home or...
Yeah, because, like, the last thing you want from any of these... Like, in, like, the last episode...
I have been waiting for a hostage situation.
In, like, 2 episodes ago, we found out that one of the gangs not only, like, sexually assaulted, like, raped the one guy's girlfriend, he then went and beat up his family.
Yeah.
And Takamichi's not like, hey, maybe, like, go home. Go somewhere where you could, like,
go home, lock the door, and maybe call the cops.
Like, I'm sure it'll come down to this eventually. With
it has to happen at some point.
But not yet. But either way, so he leaves to go find it, and he runs into one of the other guys from the gang, the guy we've seen before.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice guy. He's like, hey, guess what? Someone's trying to stab Draken. He's like, yeah, I know. It's Kisomani, or whatever the hell his name is. And he's like, no, it's Pe, where the fuck his name is.
Yeah, Pe.
It's Pe. Because he's mad because, Draken would let Pe turn himself in.
What the hell's with these names?
I don't know. Those names sound they must be nicknames because those names sound very like Chinese instead of like
Pet
Japanese.
And Pa.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I guess Tokyo Maji Gang. I was gonna say does this take place in Tokyo?
Yeah, it does take place in Tokyo, confirmed. But either way, he's mad because Draken. Mikey wanted to go stop Pa from turning himself in, and Draken was like, no, let him turn himself in. So he's mad at Draken. So he's like, I'm gonna stab Draken. So now there's so many people who want to stab Draken. So Takamichi's like, fuck, I gotta go stop this guy from stabbing Draken too.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing is like, I don't feel like Draken is in that much danger from a couple of these guys.
No, but like something has to happen here.
Like maybe 2v1 or like they surprise him.
Maybe, or like I still think it's secretly orchestrated by the one guy.
It definitely is.
And I think maybe he comes in last second to give a little stabby or something.
Like the one guy got a knife from the Mobius gang.
Yeah.
So
either way, I think then the last thing we see is Draken being confronted. He turns around and he's like, oh, sup, Pe? Like, what's going on, man? And he's like, fuck you.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's pretty much where we leave off. So we leave off next episode. We know that Draken's going to be stabbied, or at least he's supposed to be stabbied.
Yeah, do you think he's actually going to die, or...
I'm torn, because I feel like if he does die, then everything Takamichi's been working up to recently fails. But I feel like if he doesn't die, that makes it too easy for the story.
Yeah...
Like, I know, because, like, there are other things that could easily get in the way. But, like, if Draken doesn't die, then feasibly you think solving all the other issues will be easier because now you have Draken there still.
True.
So I feel like it becomes too easy, maybe.
I mean, I think a possible way it's going to go is Draken does die and Takamichi steps into his place, almost.
That's possible. There's also, like, the chance that Draken doesn't die, like, they stop him from dying, but he still, like, leaves the gang or something.
I don't think that would happen at this point.
No, but I mean, like, something, he could get, like, really badly injured. He could get, like, paralyzed or something, and he's not going to be part of the gang when he's paralyzed.
I mean, I feel like they would still have to be part of the gang, but he's not going to be a fighter.
I can't imagine that right now. I don't know.
You think Mikey would kick him out because he can't walk?
I don't think he'd kick him out, but I think he'd be like, I think Draken would be too like proud to just like be a guy who's chilling around the gang without doing anything.
I mean, I could see Draken kicking a few asses while in a wheelchair.
I mean, I'm sure he could, but I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where he's not as powerful as he used to be, so he's like, no, I'm done this life. Like, I'm going to think about these two lives as two separate things. I don't know. There's lots of outcomes. He could die. He could not die. It could all change. It could not change at all. we probably won't find out till we watch it next. I just think that like if he doesn't die, it's too easy. They bring in a lot of different things, and that changes a lot of the timeline. But at this point, if he doesn't die, the whole timeline seems like it'd be changed. So then the knowledge of the future would no longer be like that helpful.
True. Maybe they kill Emma. So then he goes after Draken, but doesn't actually take him out.
That'd be true. That'd be kind of fucked. And then that just makes the whole thing worse because then Draken's mad at everybody. And
yeah, I mean, I feel like Draken would probably go after the Mobius gang for being the inciting incident here, but
I mean, probably. But at the same time, I mean, you're still getting stabbed by someone who considers himself part of like the Mikey part of the gang kind of thing. So it could still start.
I mean, at the same time, the one guy's rocking like a bunch of like sashes or something that were white, like the Mobius gang's color.
Was he? Because like it's still
he had the white like
that could just be his thing though, because
he never had it before.
The one guy specifically mentions.
Well, Drake even specifically says like, "Hey, what's with the sashes?" Like,
oh, well, I know the one guy also specifically mentions like, oh, like like the Mikey side, like Pe is going to go stab him because like the Mikey part of the crew doesn't like Draken anymore. They want him like out. So it's still showing that like even if he doesn't kill Draken, let's say he killed Emma or something like that, Draken's still pissed and he's still fucking now mad at the whole Mikey side, and Mikey's gonna defend his own people. Like Mikey might still be like, hey, like it's I mean, like it's hard to say. We've seen Mikey.
The difference here is that he wanted to protect Pa because Pa stabbed somebody who was not part of the gang.
Yeah.
This is technically them attacking someone who's part of the gang.
Yeah.
So what side is he gonna take if it's his own people?
I don't know. I feel like that's going to be hard for Mikey. This could cause rifts. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Draken dies to still cause the rift in the gang. The whole point is that the rift in the gang happens, and Draken's partially Mikey's like conscious.
Yeah.
So like that could affect it. So I don't know. It's possible. It's also like I kind of want like a Takemichi Hiro moment where he like
I want him to do something.
I want him to like stop the stabbing so that like Draken like respects him. It's like, hey man, like now you don't just seem like a little bitch to me. Like you just stopped me from getting stabbed or something.
Yeah.
That's what I hope anyways. Obviously we won't find out till next week. Most of this episode was just chill. It's just like, hey, here's a summer festival. Here's like everything's looking relaxing. Like that's gonna happen. Like trying to pretend like we don't know that shit's about to go, all sorts of wrong.
Yeah, the show doesn't give you a lot of lighthearted moments and lets them last.
No, I feel like it's important though to see his relationship with Hina, to be like, this is what he's trying to protect. Like this along with his friends now, even like Draken, all the things he's trying to save in the future, we kind of have to be like reminded of, and he has to be reminded of him too. So he got a little bit of romance time to be like, oh right, maybe if he succeeds, maybe in the future he actually gets to be with the girlfriend.
I mean, maybe.
He doesn't have to flee town to then never see her again until she finds out she's dead because he's embarrassed of his whole life, basically. Like, it could be a really positive change for him, too. So, I think we're getting a lot of seasons of this anyways. It won't be finished in one season, but...
We know there's a few things that have to happen, because even just from the opening and the ending, we know he becomes part of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something to do with a Clover charm that we have yet to ever see.
Yeah, I know. We haven't even seen the other guy who I thought we were going to get... Well, we've seen him, but he hasn't been introduced.
Yeah, he's shown up twice?
Twice. We've seen him walk by once, and then we've seen him show up in the future.
Yeah,
doing something sus. So that's gonna happen, I assume, after this whole Mikey Draken Toman part finishes. We're finally gonna get that guy introduced. Definitely gonna be some sort of orchestrated behind the scenes.
Oh god, yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get many seasons of this, so it's not like we're gonna get this plot solved in this one. I'm pretty sure. So just keep up. We're gonna be talking about it. I think it's probably gonna be a 25 episode show, if I had to guess. Maybe it splits it up in 2 cours. A lot of them are doing that.
That is true. I feel like this one would probably keep running, but
yeah,
it's building a lot of momentum. I don't know if it would break that with a 2 course.
I mean, but think of like Jujutsu. I guess they didn't. Did they do it? Did Jujutsu take a break?
Did Jujutsu take a break? I know Shoko Tensei did.
Now I can't remember if Jujutsu took a break. No, I mean like Jujutsu finished, but did they take a break in between, or did they just take like a week or 2 off?
I think they just took a week off.
Okay,
because that was like New Year's.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. Like, did they actually stop at like episode 12, like after the first arc into the tournament arc?
I don't think they did. But...
Yeah, they might have just taken like a week or 2 during that. But yeah, if you guys like Tokyo Revengers, leave us a comment down below. Leave us any theories, anything like that. Make sure they're spoiler free if you're a manga fan, and then we will be talking about episode number 9 next week. Second last on today's list is, of course, Higehiro, episode number 9.
Passed.
So exactly what we expected. For the most part, this episode is just Sayu narrating what happened to get her in this situation.
Yeah.
I don't think there was like maybe one thing that I thought was unexpected. For the most part, whenever she was talking about her parents, she was mentioned. It was more like it's not that her parents were actively like against her or for her. It was that they were like really passive in the whole situation.
Yeah.
But this didn't seem very passive. This seemed like the direct reason she left was because of her mother, for the most part.
Yeah, the mother was definitely the trigger that caused her to leave. And I don't think she ever said it wasn't that they didn't it wasn't them being passive. It was that they didn't care if she was there or not.
Yeah, we also don't see a father, so
Yeah, like we don't know if he's busy with work or if he like is like out of the picture.
yeah, I don't know. But as we expected, she goes into her past. She basically calls over her one friend from the convenience store, and with her, she sits Yoshi down. And she's like, I'm gonna tell you guys this story. Obviously, like before this, we leave off from last week, her brother walking in. For the most part, that's solved pretty fast. I'd say I was pretty accurate with the guess, where I said her brother was going to be a decent guy.
Yeah.
I said that her brother might like lie to her parents to give her extra time.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what he did. He's like, because he met Yoshida, then he had a private chat with Sayu to figure out what was going on, and he basically decided, like, he immediately asked, he's like, has anything sexual happened? And they're both like, no. And he's like, okay, good. And he's immediately like, okay, Yoshida seems like a nice guy. He wants what's best. Even Yoshida says like, oh, you should go home. And basically it just comes down to, he's like, I'll like tell mom I haven't found you for like this week or whatever while you decide. Give her a little bit of time to figure out if she's ready to go back or how she's going to go back, how she's going to handle life back. And then in the meantime, she's like, okay, well, I'm going to tell you guys the story, what happened. Because part of going back is, facing the past. And it's pretty much exactly what we expected. I think is that what everybody knew was going to be the story. Once you see a bitch on a roof, like, you just know it's going to happen.
Yeah, there's definitely some tropes that you don't get away from.
Yeah, so she explains how she never had a good relationship with her mother, and because of that, she was like standoffish in like a way at school. Like, she didn't necessarily have friends. She didn't like try very hard at anything.
Yeah, she didn't put any effort into her studies or athletics, and she didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, and then one day, like, a different girl comes up and starts talking to her. And this girl also doesn't have any friends or anything like that. So the two of them become friends just instead of, like, default because they don't have anything else going on. And then slowly the one friend starts getting bullied, basically being like, hey, you're not cool enough to hang out with her because that girl's like cool and she's pretty and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there was more to it than that. It was also like, hey, I like this guy that girl turned down, so now I'm gonna go after you.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh, why would they bully you instead of bullying me for that? And she's like, well, they think like you're too cool and too pretty and stuff, so they have to do it to me. And then it's almost like you're a loser. Then it's almost like you're worse because you're hanging out with a loser, and it's a complicated girl situation.
Yeah, it's very much high school logic.
It's very much high school. The main point, though, is this friend is being bullied, and even though the main girl, Sayu, isn't being bullied, she has to sit here and watch her friend being bullied, and obviously that takes an effect. It takes a toll on her. And at one point, she comes up to the roof and she sees her friend standing on the edge, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing up there?" And the friend literally explains, like, "Hey, like since I've been being bullied, your life's gotten harder. Like, you never smile as much. You're always just thinking about how you can try and stop it. What am I supposed to say? I can't agree with this character. It's stupid logic, but at the same time, you can't just tell someone suicidal that their logic is fucking stupid."
Yeah, there's not a lot of good things you can say about this. I know I wouldn't be able to come up with something on the spot.
I would have been like, listen, if you jump, I jump. And then
that's the only way.
Because she loves you so much, she wouldn't want to take the risk. But she couldn't say anything. She's obviously shocked at everything that's going on.
Like you don't expect to walk into the situation. Your options are basically you jump, I jump, or if you don't want to go down that route, it's like you jump, I'm gonna go beat to death the people.
Like, obviously,
who did this
there's a way deeper roots here because this girl had such little like self-love and self-respect that she did. Even it's not like she's like jumping, like killing herself because she's being bullied. She's killing herself because her being bullied is making her friend sad.
Yeah,
like it's there's we don't get to see her home life or anything like that, but there's obviously more here than probably just what's going on at school.
Yeah, there's obviously something else that caused her to rely on Sayu this much.
Yeah, but either way, it ends in the same spot. She jumps. She jumps off. Sayu goes, takes a peek over, doesn't like what she sees.
Yeah.
And then from there, we see Sayu at home, and there's obviously a bunch of news people wanting in and wanting the story and wanting to know what happened and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like that would have gotten out. Like, girl gets bullied, commits suicide, isn't...
I'm sure people, like, if the interviewers interviewed people at the school and stuff like that, some people would have known or something along those lines. Like, it would have been relatively obvious, I think, for the most part. Like, teenage girl jumps off the roof of a building. Probably first things you'd look for is some sort of harassment, bullying. But either way, we see that, and then we see the interaction with the mother. So Sayu's mother basically says, she kind of says, like, oh, this is fucking awful. Like, you've inconvenienced my life so much by this. Like, by having a friend who killed themselves is so inconvenient to me. And then just to make it even worse after that, she literally asks her if she killed her.
Yeah, like, I cannot imagine turning to anybody and asking that, let alone your own flesh and blood.
Yeah, so after getting mad at her daughter because she had a friend who killed herself, she then asks if the daughter is the one who like killed her, and then she's like, "How dare you ask me that?" And then she's like, "I'm fucking leaving." And she leaves. The brother runs into her. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" She's like, "Listen to what mother just told me. She just asked me if I killed her." And she's like, "Okay, come with me. He's like, here's a week's worth of money.
It wasn't even a week's worth. It was like $3,000.
Yeah. So I think he said like, here's enough money for like 2 weeks at a hotel or something.
Yeah.
Roughly. He's like, stay away. I'll keep her not looking for you. I'll make sure that she doesn't find you, that kind of stuff. Take this time to like think things through and that kind of shit. And then we see, he's trying to be supportive. And then after like 2 weeks, she's out of money and she still is not ready to go back. So she throws her phone out. Yeah. She's like, oh, even my brother who's nice, like, what can he really do kind of situation. Throws her phone out. And then we see the first interaction where she runs into a guy in the street. He offers to take her home. And she says like, oh, he was nice for a few days. And then after that, he wanted to sleep with me for me to stay. And she's like, and that's how it all began. And she's like, and that's basically what happened continuously until you found me.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. They're like, oh, thanks for telling the story. The one friend's getting real sad. And then like she held it together really well for telling the story. And then after that, she's like, falls apart basically.
Oh god, yeah.
She's like sleeping in the next scene, probably like sleeping while crying. And then the friend's talking to Yoshida, being like, oh, like, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, she has to go home. And, because that's what she has to do. And she's like, oh, well, like, it's not about like what she has to do. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And he's like, what do I want? And it's just, again, it's, him trying to realize that, he needs to kind of like
make
do
a decision.
something. Yeah. He's got to do shit instead of just having it done and around him. So
it's not enough to just give her a place to stay at this point.
Yeah. So for the most part, next episode, I really want a confrontation between him and her mother.
I could see that happening because even when the brother was talking about the mother, she did not care about Sayu.
Yeah, she said that like people are starting to like. She said that she's been upstairs the entire time, and people are starting to wonder if she's like safe or like locked up. Yeah, like basically, it's looking. The fact that Sayu has been gone for so long is looking bad on the mother, so that's why she's looking for her.
Yeah, and it's like she isn't worried about you. It's once she got something in her head, she just won't give it up.
Yeah, so I very much think that like I really want Yoshi to confront the mother and basically like, hey, you're a shitty mom. He's like, I've known this chick for like a month and I'm a better father and I'm a better parent than you are.
Yeah, I am curious about the father situation. Like, does she not have one? Or...
She might not have one anymore. Like at one point she mentioned that like
would you stay with the mother?
No. At one point she mentioned that like Ishii or something is working so hard and like she's inconveniencing all of them with the whole suicide thingy, but that could have just been like her brother.
I think that's the brother, yeah, because I think his name is Ishizawa or
Ishikawa. I don't know. We'll find out in the next episode what's going on with the family situation. But yeah, it was a good episode. I don't think we learned anything too new other than the mom being a bitch.
We got a lot of confirmation as to what we'd guessed at, and then we learned the mom's a bitch. That's...
Yeah, for the most part, most of the stuff like with the suicide, that kind of stuff we all guessed pretty well. The show hinted at it enough times that we were able to pick it up. Yeah. But either way, we're probably getting close to the end of the show. A couple more episodes left. It's probably just going to be a one-season show.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a long-term series.
I'm excited to see the end. I've mentioned this before with the anime. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking, but it's still a really enjoyable watch, and I think it's done a really good job so far. Like,
yeah, I mean, it touches base on a lot of topics you don't see in anime very often, at least not without it being in a very different light. So
it also just like it did a good job at not turning towards what people thought it could have been.
Yeah.
Just some sort of like slice of life rom-com of like the teenage girl living with the grown man kind of situation.
Yeah, trying to normalize something. I think there's a series that is doing that right now too.
I think there is. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, the Toikawa. I don't know. It's something on there. But yeah, either way. So it was a good episode. We're going to be talking about it next week. We'll be talking about it till the show finishes. If you have any thoughts on the show, like if you're a fan of it, if you think it is something groundbreaking, if you think, hey, this is the slice of life, or this is the drama anime of all time, let us know down below. We'll be talking about it till it finishes, and I am excited to see how the show ends, and if they can really finish up this relationship with the two main characters in a way that is satisfying to everybody. It's probably going to be the hardest part.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways they can go with this, and none of the directions are mutually happy.
Yeah, so if the show can somehow pull off something that everybody's like, you know what, that's not what I would have chose, but I can respect that
I will
decision,
give it mad points.
Then I will give it mad props. So we'll see. We only have a few episodes left, so stick with us. If you're a fan, leave us a comment down below about the episode of Higehiro, and we'll be talking about episode number 10 next week. Yep. Last up on the list, of course, is To Your Eternity, episode number 8.
Monster Brothers.
I think, again, a pretty casual episode. Like there's still like a lot of like emotional aspects to it, and we're learning more about Gugu, especially.
Yeah, there's a lot of little spikes, but there's no huge one scene.
Yeah, there's not like one big thing. A lot of it's just learning about him, right? Like he has more interactions with the girl he likes. He has more interactions with his family in like a sense.
Yeah.
Because like it just starts off with, we learn really quickly our guess about the alcohol thing, but we're not given a lot of information about it. They basically find out that because he's like, oh, I want to like. But he wants to heal her wounds, I think is what it is.
Yeah, she's talking about her wound from 3 months ago again. He goes to the booze man. He's like, hey, do you have anything that'll help her? He's like, yeah, sure. 1 second. Opens the mask up, pulls a cork out.
Yeah, I don't where's that chilling?
I don't even want to know. And then just puts in a siphon pump and like, pulls some out. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, pulls alcohol, and the kid's like, what is this? And he's like, oh, I like it's like some really, really good booze. Like I put it in you when I was doing the thing. And the kid's like, why? And he's like, because I thought I could. He's like, it seemed like a perfect time. And the kid's like, I'm leaving. And then he's gone.
Yeah, pretty fair, because the guy literally says it's not like he put a barrel or a wineskin in. He described it as an organ.
Yeah.
What organ?
I don't know. I don't think the show can explain that to make it make sense. You just have to leave it vague so that you can just be like, sure, that's believable.
Like I'm trying to think of like what he could put in him that would serve as a vessel for alcohol that wouldn't put it into his system.
Nothing. That
you would need a siphon pump to get it out. That he couldn't just
nothing.
Nothing.
There's no realistic way this could ever happen.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I'm overthinking this. But
I do think that we're still gonna get to the point where he does use it as some sort of fire breath coming up.
I don't know if it's gonna be him
now that he knows it exists. I mean, it might be him like once, and then maybe this is the assumption that he dies. We don't know if he dies still.
Everyone who gets close to Fushi
it's possible he
dies.
doesn't. But most of the episodes he leaves, and then all the characters are like, hey, like, should we go after him? Like, we should go get him, right? And they're all like, no, because he pissed Fushi off earlier.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was kind of a dick to Fushi. Like, I understand what was going on. He was just like, hey, I haven't seen you do anything more. He just like slices his hand. It's like, hey.
Yeah, you got to remember too for Fushi, it's like, he was experimenting on for that brief little while.
Yeah.
So he's not a big fan of that. He literally, like, at one point, like when he burns him, he looks like he's about to cry, and he's like not a fan of it.
Yeah, I mean, Gugu does say like just say stop.
Yeah, but
it's still a dick move.
It's a dick move, and it partially probably comes from still he's like jealous with the whole like girl thing.
Oh god, yeah.
So, so Fushi's like, no, I'm not going for him. Plus, it doesn't help that Gugu did go out to like the forest, which Fushi said is scared of.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going for him. The little girl's like, I'm not going to go for him alone. And then the booze man's like, nah.
I mean, the booze man doesn't give a shit. Fushi was chilling, just taking a nap.
Yeah.
When he left. So
yeah, he was just chilling. And then so the most of the episode is just Gugu trying to make his way in the world again, like he did before, but with a lot more difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, he never had an easy life.
Yeah, he didn't have an easy life. He was always working hard, but like at least life was, doable. Like it was workable. He gets a job back where he worked before, except for all of the workers there are treating him like a monster. They're making fun of him.
Yeah.
The only person that's being nice to him is the actual like his like main boss.
Yeah.
Who even invites him to come like stay with his family. He invites him to come and live with him, and then at a dinner, the kid's like, I don't want you to be part of our family. Kid's like, I don't like this guy. I don't want to be part of family. And Gugu's like, oh, you're right. Like if you guys are gonna love me, kind of thing. Like you should actually. I need you to be able to actually love me. And he takes off the mask, and they all like freak out. And then Gugu's like, yep, bye. Kid like calls him a monster, and he leaves. And then you do see a couple minutes later the boss runs out. He's like, no, wait, like he didn't mean that. Like he didn't. He was a little harsh, but like I still want you. And he's like, no, it's cool. Like I'm smiling underneath my mask. It's okay. Like I'll be back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was probably hurt on the inside. Yeah. And then we just see like basically a montage of his life just becoming shit. Right? He goes through the village, the town. People don't like him. At one point, he takes his mask off. He throws it away. He's like, I don't need this mask.
Yeah. It wasn't even that he took it off. It was a bunch of jerks just like ran by and like took it off and throw it in the water. And he's like, why do I need this?
Yeah, he's like, oh, why do I need this? I'm fine. So then he tries to go around his daily life, but he's scaring everybody as he goes by. Yeah. His workers are still harassing him. Basically, life's not good. And then even like one night he got a little bit of money, and while he's just like camping, the kid comes again, and the kid's like, hey, don't come back to work tomorrow. He's like, you're making life harder for my father because like you're a fucking monster kind of thing. Like,
yeah, he's like, we're not a freak show. We're like, just don't show up.
Yeah. So and then even like the next day he like looks like he goes back to work to look, and he decides he's not going to go back. We see the boss like out looking for him, but he doesn't see him. And then and then the last thing we see from him is he gets fucking kidnapped.
Yeah, like I'm very like they don't know about the alcohol, I'm assuming.
No, I think it's just for like a freak show kind of thing, like a circus or something, because we've seen a little bit of like his eye situation going on, and
yeah, they've done a really good job just showing in just enough that we know it's screwed up. So
yeah, so some people like kidnap him, basically be like, hey, we'll sell him for like a circus or something. And then right as soon as they're about to do that, of course, Fushi shows up, kicks their ass, which is nice. He doesn't even kick their ass. He just turns into Oniguma.
Yeah, we got one wolf tackle that he's like, yeah, I'm not done. I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, he turns into Oniguma, and they just flee away. And then, Gugu comes out, and he's basically like, oh, like, Fushi, why'd you rescue me? Like, you're scared of forests kind of thing. Like, you know. And it's nice because what does Fushi respond with?
Fushi says, I'm scared, but I'm here.
Yeah, and then Gugu's like, oh, you know what? Like we're like monster brothers kind of thing, and he's happy situation, which is obviously like the name of the title.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gugu's gonna die. I know we've talked about this before, but
I don't know because they severed the last tie he had technically. Excuse me.
What, with the encounter of his brother?
Yeah, with him finding the brother and giving away the ring, that was him kind of holding on to, what was her name? Reyna?
Yeah, he also just be like, hey, like it doesn't matter. Even if I have all the money in the world, like
I'm still a monster.
Yeah, I'm still a monster. Like people never love me. People won't care. He's like, but you, like if you have money, like you can still be successful. So he's like, I don't need it. So
yeah.
Nice of him. His brother's still kind of a shitbag, but
Yeah, did we figure, like, they don't really explain what happened. It looks like he's just...
I still think gambling or something. But
yeah, because he obviously isn't eating, and there was like a wineskin next to him, I think, or like a gourd. So.
Yeah, I don't know. He's either probably spending it all on like money, drugs, or alcohol, or not like spending on money, but like all his money on drugs or alcohol, or like gambling or something.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like an opium den.
Well, like
that's why he's like so emaciated. And, like,
I'm gonna say
out.
Gambling because I feel like there was some sort of hint with the winning thing. Remember, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna win tomorrow."
It could be a mixture of both too.
It could be. Yeah, it could just be frivolous spending.
Yeah.
Obviously not good, but that's very much like a gambling person thing, or gambling or drugs, meaning they keep taking money out and that kind of shit. Either way, like that's kind of Gugu right there is just done with him. Like I don't think we're gonna be seeing him again. I think that's just his acceptance, being like, I don't have a brother now.
Yeah.
But he gets a brother at the end of the episode.
It does.
But I wouldn't be too surprised if Gugu doesn't die. I don't necessarily know if he'll go on like Fushi's journey, but it's possible he just like stays and lives his life with Booze Man for now. But
I mean, that is possible. The only thing is, I'm willing to bet Fushi is going to turn into him at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, he's been able to turn into anything that's harmed him.
Yeah, Gugu just has to bite him, and then he can turn into him.
Yeah, because like, they kind of figured that out with the knife earlier when he was able to replicate it.
Yeah,
So
and he also could not replicate fire.
Yeah, or a bowl, or
well, yeah, because the fire, like even though he was burnt with the fire, it only made the torch with the flame on it.
Yeah.
The bowl didn't hurt him. Maybe if you like hit him over the head, he could like bowl, but. I don't know. Like I'm curious. I think the next episode has to be like probably the ending with the Gugu arc.
I think so. I hate that name. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the girl like Rena or whatever her name is figuring out that he was the one who like saved her at that time.
Yeah,
and I think we're either gonna get like a bitch response for her, but I mean, think that she kind of turned around a little bit in this episode as far as a public appearance went, as like what I thought she was gonna be.
A little bit, because did you watch the next time?
No.
Well, the next time is like they talk about her a little bit, talk about how she resents her lack of freedom, and then one of the shots shows her wearing a mask.
Okay.
So there's something's going to happen with her next episode.
Maybe they go to like a masked festival or something.
I mean, from what I saw, I don't think so.
Oh well, I do think that it's going to be a reveal that he saved her from that situation and his life's been fucked because of it. I hope that she is grateful for that, not like a.
I mean. Yeah, she's been kind of riding that line, hasn't she?
It's been. I think in the like last week's episode, I was talking about how I think she's kind of a bitch based off some context we've gotten. But I think in this week she turned around a little bit. Even though she likes Fushi and not like Gugu, she's still like concerned when he like runs away.
Yeah, she was the one who showed the most concern out of all of them.
Yeah, so I think there's still potential for her and like her willingness to like to leave her rich family and come work here and stuff like that. I think there's potential for her to turn around and become like a good character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too surprised if they still kind of pull out the secret bitch though.
She might be. It might even just be a misunderstanding. Like she just doesn't understand how it works for them.
Yeah.
My question is like, what's her family doing right now?
I don't know. We'll probably find our next episode, I assume. Because we obviously know they're a very rich family and her father gives her a bunch of shit and she doesn't really appreciate what he gives her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that Gugu's gonna like, or maybe Gugu won't reveal it because then it looks like he's trying to do it to brag, but I think it's gonna be revealed the reason he's all fucked with his mask. Like I think he's gonna show her the face and she's either gonna panic or
Yeah, because I mean I don't think he'd be recognizable considering like what happened.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like unless you can put it together from the hair.
Maybe she knows. Did she already mention that he was the one selling vegetables and he's like, oh, you remembered me, or was that while he was still
that was when she gave him the ring, so that was before the accident.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe it'll be revealed by someone that it was him, and then she's gonna put two to two together and ask him about the accident. And he'll explain. She'll be, hey, yeah, I remember that. Look at my wound. Her wound's gonna be like something really small. In my mind, I think it's gonna be something that's not bad at all, and that like shows that like people are like doting on her because of this wound, and she says she doesn't want to show anyone because it's so hideous. When his like entire life got fucked over by it, and hers is gonna be like a little scar or something.
Yeah, the biggest question is gonna be because it hasn't healed in 3 months. Like there has to be something going on with it. Yeah, especially if it's something small.
I guess, but I mean, she was just like pushed. Like that's all it was.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just going to be a more thing about like the difference in perspective of her thinking she has like a hideous scar, and it's going to be like some sort of mark that isn't fully healed, and his whole life got fucked over by like saving her. And it's going to show like the difference in their lives.
Yeah, like the dude has a cork in his face at this point. Like,
yeah, it was a very good episode, especially if you want to learn more about Gugu as a character. He seems like a really nice kid.
Yeah.
Fun to watch, but I think that in the next episode we're going to get a little bit more of him, and that'll probably be the last one next episode. And the ending of it will maybe the ending will tell us if we're going to get more Gugu or if he's going to not be around.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to wait and see and save that for next week.
Something is going to happen between him and Boozman at the very least, considering he has a big thing of his freaking alcohol in him.
Yeah, I'm still expecting the fire breath. I think that they're going to get in some sort of danger maybe, and he's going to have to use it. He's going to like light or remove cork and spray some out or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Like, we don't even know where this cork is. Like, is this like in his eye socket, or is it like where his nose was, or like
I don't know. It looked like mouth area, but it can't be mouth, or how could he breathe? Like,
I mean, at the same point, like it did, like he was able to talk while he was taking the liquor out. He didn't sound impeded.
I think it might be nose. Maybe he doesn't have a nose anymore because that was broken. So like they break the nose part of the cavity and just cork in there.
Maybe
because your nose and your mouth share some sort of track system,
I mean, for all we know, like it's like in his cheek in a hole that was made. So
I know I think we're still guessing it's the stomach thing.
I mean, it's easily the stomach thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I guess we haven't seen his face, so we can't see it. That might be one of the reasons people think he's fucked, though. I can imagine just a no skin, huge eyes, and just a cork in the middle of the face.
Yeah. And there's obviously going to be something messed up with his mouth as well. And
yeah. I mean, he's able to talk at least, so.
I mean, yeah, but even when he was eating, like he just like kind of popped like two things in, and it was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see where the show goes with Gugu, or if like what we've kind of seen so far, if we just kind of leave him behind and we just continue Fushi's journey. I think everyone's still okay with that too. It just comes down to how we leave Gugu.
Yeah, is he going to be like living his best life, or is he going to
go
be
down
buried?
as a hero? Yeah, like who knows? We'll probably find out maybe next week, maybe if not the week after. I'm kind of hoping we get the little finale to this part next week, though. If you're a fan of To Your Eternity, I know it's one of the biggest anime this season. A lot of people are really enjoying it. As we mentioned before, we don't get to post on the To Your Eternity subreddit because they don't allow that. So if you know anyone who's watching the show or anyone who's even interested in the show, maybe recommend the podcast and just link them the specific time code for this and see if it's something they like. And if not, thanks for watching anyways. As always, guys, if you've watched it this far, it means you've made it through the entire episode. So if you don't mind liking, commenting, and subscribing, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we appreciate everything you guys do, even just giving us a little bit of a nudge in some Discord or something. Anything's good.
Yeah, anything. And if you are like I know obviously we mentioned before, there's the No Ground. He's the Kumo Desu mod, and he says he posted there, has a Discord posted in. That kind of stuff's fantastic. We don't expect that from everybody, but if you do have some sort of community where you're able to post things in, and just that people kind of know it's not self-promotion, because this isn't like. We don't want to be doing nonstop self-promotion. It's more that we just want a good area to discuss things with. Eventually, if we got a big enough audience, we'd love to just have a Discord, and then we could stop posting stuff on subreddits and just post the episodes in Discords and have discussions on that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I think you got to get to a certain community size before you really worry about any of that stuff. So,
yeah, that's true.
As I mentioned before, our goal for the end of the year is just the 1,000 subs. Just that way we're partnered with YouTube. We can do stuff like community tabs and stuff like that. So anything you do to help us get there is appreciated, even if it's just a like or a comment. It doesn't have to be anything else other than that, and we still appreciate that. Yeah. I think other than that, we've discussed everything we've had to discuss for today.
Yeah, that was everything for the week.
So, guys, we will be back next week with episode number 39. Can't believe we're almost at 40 episodes.
That's crazy, man. It's almost a year.
That's kind of crazy. It'll be, I don't remember when we started, like summer? Did we start summer season? Fall?
We started at the end of the summer season, I think, because I don't think we started at the start of a season.
We'll have to do a year-long special at some point.
Yeah.
We do have other ideas for other specials, too, like stuff like animated movies are really big right now, so maybe one of those. Yeah. Or, of course, we'd always be down to do separate content that aren't the podcast one, like just videos, maybe even some sort of scripted content or reviews or stuff. That's kind of the goals we have for when we do eventually hit the 1,000 subs. So, yeah, guys, we'll see you next week for episode number 39. As always, I've been Cam.
I'm Jimmy.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Peace.